You know,
And I am the storyteller this time.
Yeah, when the count hits 0, that means go.
You didn't say 0.
So welcome to the Dustbowl Blues. This time I am the storyteller. Chaz has to sit in the player's seat like a normal person.
I get to have fun.
Yes, but this is
They let
this
me
is
out of the
officially
cage for 1 week a month.
no. That's 2 times a month. Tom also streams video games.
Oh, that's very true. Okay, I guess I can't complain.
No, he's still in the cage. He just didn't get to watch.
We give him an Xbox controller or something, and
I get to pretend that
Yeah, the controller. Yeah.
like your little brother and your Super Nintendo kind of thing, or the Nintendo 64.
By the way, Josh, the Robert Johnson song "Love in Vain Blues" might be copywritten until 2047.
That is absurd. But yes, this is the Dustbowl Blues and is officially session 1 of our Changeling the Dreaming Chronicle. And for those of you who did not get to catch it on the live stream, unfortunately, there were some technical issues that resulted in the loss of about half of our preludes. And for those of you who were not present, we are playing in the 1930s, early 1930s, I think 1932, 1933, so a little bit into the Great Depression, and the setting so far will be San Antonio, Texas, in the year 1933. But why don't we go around and have you guys briefly introduce your changeling, so anybody who's not caught up can get a little taste of your all's characters.
Before we get into that, do you mind if I do the bookkeeping real fast?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, a little bit of a reason to celebrate, and hello everybody there in chat. Black Gutter, good to see you, buddy. We love every single one of you, whether you're watching us on Twitch, whether you're watching us on YouTube, but there's a couple of people that we owe an extra special thank you, and today we are celebrating a brand new patron has joined our ranks, so thank you to Mr. Ian Hoch. You are a scholar and a gentleman, and we will do our very best to live up to your generosity.
We have your money.
Say hi to your brother Mike.
What did you say, Josh?
I said we have your money. You can't take it back.
I mean, he can. He literally can whenever he wants. There are such a thing called chargebacks. But we hope you don't want to.
He's giving us a fake credit card. Don't worry about it.
And if you could get your cousin Ethan Hawke to show up on one of our streams, that'd also be pretty cool.
Are you sure it's my mic? And are you also sure it's not an echo? Because you might be hearing it through Melinda's.
I currently have myself muted.
Okay. Do you guys hear feedback from me?
Nope.
I don't hear anything.
Okay.
I heard what he was talking about, but I don't hear it anymore.
Okay. I think it might have been Josh's microphone as it moves.
No,
But
yeah.
I can't 100%. Let me know if you keep hearing it through the session, then I'll mess with it. Until then, I am terrified to touch this thing. Secondly, real quick, I just want to give you guys an explanation of what happened last week, mostly because I'm still pissed about it and I need to rant. So what happened is, as you guys know, our glorious Texas internet cut out during the first episode of Changeling, which bifurcated our preludes into 2 parts. We had, I guess, the run-up and then the actual preludes themselves. I thought about uploading it like that, but it was kind of rough, and the cutoffs were jarring because we literally just disconnected, so I thought I'd do the responsible thing. I thought our viewers deserve better, so I'd import it into Premiere and stitch it together. Well, here's the thing about Twitch. Twitch encodes at a peak frame rate, which basically means that the best frame rate that it ever gets to, that's what it has the whole video set to. Which is good, but when you import it into Premiere, Premiere uses a constant frame rate, which desyncs the audio. So in order to fix that, I have to take all of the video footage that I ever edit ever, I have to run that through another program called Handbrake, which essentially makes another copy of the video and re-encodes it with a constant frame rate so I can put it into Premiere and use that without the audio desyncing. So I did that. Now I have 2 copies of this shit. So I put it in Premiere, I stick the 2 together, I export the video. The video ended up being something like 22 gigs or something with because I use the full quality YouTube export stuff. I don't know if it actually makes a visual fidelity, but it's not the world's biggest deal. So I stick it together, I export it. Now I've got 3 copies of this video. The folder of just Changeling shit of that one session was 33 gigs. So I've got my fixed version, I upload it, and I think to myself, job well done, done with this, let's free up 33 gigs on the computer, and I delete the folder. I did not find out until several days later that the video was not complete. And so immediately I'm thinking it's my fault. So I open up my Adobe Premiere and I'm checking every single one of my export settings. I checked to make sure my sequencer wasn't weirdly in the middle somewhere. Nope, flushed right against the beginning of the project. I checked to make sure, because Premiere has these little slidey bars. If you want to export the whole thing, to make sure those were at the very ends. Those were at the very ends. I checked every little thing I possibly could. I didn't get a single error message from Premiere. I had plenty of space left over on my hard drive. As far as I can tell, Adobe Premiere just fucking shrugged and decided, that's enough, Changeling. They don't need to hear about Adam's dexterous toes. And cut it off in the middle. And that's the most infuriating part, is it didn't even export like one clip and not the other. It cut off in the middle of a clip. It just stopped. And I'm very frustrated, and my world is pain, and by the time I realized the mistake, the 2-week window to re-download the raw footage had already elapsed, and I couldn't fix it. So I'm sorry for any inconvenience or displeasure that happened with you if you viewed the last episode of Changeling on YouTube, but I guarantee you nobody's more upset about it than I am. Okay? Okay.
Neat.
I try hard, Yusuf. I fucking try hard. Now, I apologize. I know I don't always keep to schedule, and that's my fault. I'm terrible at time management with all the other stuff I'm juggling. But, man, this past couple week was not fun for me.
And with that, Chaz, tell us about your Changeling.
I guess I have to. I am playing James Hutcherson, also known as Ririd ap Liam, the very, very noble Autumn She, who thinks it is incumbent upon himself to sort of take charge and weave the disparate threads of Changeling society into a whole greater than its parts. Basically, I'm the Ventrue, but hopefully I'm not a dick.
The She are basically the high elves of the Changelings.
Has it been the Elf Alliance, though?
Well, I didn't get to play that particular game of Changeling, so or that particular game of Munchkin, so Elf Alliance was sadly never an option for me.
But
Few have had the opportunity to join, but none have taken. So the Elf Alliance is still just Tom and I.
Solidarity.
I mean, are you guys taking applications? Because I'll apply for the Elf Alliance. I like to feel like I'm better than other people.
No.
All right. With the Elf Alliance solidarity, Tom, why don't you tell them about your Changeling who isn't an elf this time?
Well, I just go by Mr. Jostin. I'm just a regular old folk with, a fancy red hat. I go around dispensing some good old-fashioned Western justice to those who just don't follow proper moral etiquette.
I was gonna say, didn't you go with the a red bandana instead of the red hat?
I was alluding to what kind of changing it was, Jack.
Ah, okay. Yes. Even though they're called red caps, a red cap in Changeling the Dreaming does not actually have to have a red cap, as is a mythological tradition. Modern red caps can have any one red piece of clothing they choose. And Tom, before his prelude got destroyed, picked a red bandana. I believe it was stained red after he got shot and left in the Chihuahua Desert.
'Twasn't my best of times.
Why don't we go with you, Kyle? Why don't you tell everybody about your Changeling? I'm gonna pull you away from your minis.
Just for a sec.
You son of a bitch.
Nah, I'm just a simple guy. I'm Gilbert Boyle. Just traveling hobo extraordinaire these days after all the cattle farms went plumb belly up. Yeah, just riding the rails, traveling around, enjoying life. Easy peasy, easy living.
And I believe
That's
you
me.
are a satyr, yes?
I am a satyr. Those who know me well call me Crudar. Those who don't, well, they call me Bum. So, take it or leave it.
So, Xavier, why don't you elucidate us about your very special changeling, who is technically not a changeling.
I'm not one of those, immigrant changelings.
You're born right here
I
in
am.
New York Bay.
Yes, sir. I am 100% American made. Possibly Gaia herself shat me out. Yes, I am Riker Redwind, or Mountain Walker. I am playing a Nunehi, or the Native American changeling variants. And, no Daestra.
Daestra, yes.
And yeah, we'll see if I can keep my my voice and cadence really low, because that's gonna hurt for a little.
You're gonna try to do the stereotypical Native American.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that in a while.
So Xavier, I have a question for you. Me as a role player, and people who have watched Rise of the Free States know this already, but one of my greatest joys in life is getting to play the forget about it, stereotypical Guido guy. Do you feel the same way when you play into your own racial stereotype, or is it completely different for you?
I mean, I don't think I found as much joy out of it. Like it's in the Native American community. It's an ongoing joke that like we all sound and talk like this to each other, and we'll talk like that to just fuck with white people.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Do you just stare at people and cry whenever you see them litter?
Just a one tier.
Just shake your head.
Who was it where you basically just walked into somebody's house? Was it Kyle? And he said something about not liking somebody just coming into his home and taking his stuff.
No.
No, not you, Kyle. I can't remember his name, but he was one of the first. Yeah, Dennis.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my apologies, Kyle. It was Dennis who said that Xavier just walked into his home. What did you take, or what did you pick up, or did you just start eating something?
Yeah, I just went to his fridge, started munching.
And he said he didn't like it when somebody just came into his house and started taking his stuff.
Yeah.
I believe you said your response was, "That must be tough."
I don't remember exactly what I said, but yes, I was very snooty about it.
If it helps the mental image whatsoever, Dennis is of a Caucasian bent.
I mean, if they go into the backlog of videos on YouTube, they'll see him.
He's on the first time not to.
Yeah.
Like this group I'm playing with right now is probably the most diverse group I play with. Kyle, you've seen the other fuckers. I look like I hang out with a bunch of clan members.
And it's amazing to me, that we live in El Paso, and yet I have a couple groups of friends that are freakishly white, even though the population of the city is 85% Latin.
Right? It's because we're in the west side.
I mean, sure, but I mean, some of those groups are from the east side, but considering the far east side is just all military, it kind of makes sense that they're a bunch of white guys. But it still throws me off.
But specifically, Xavier's Nuneki is a Numazoho, right? Which is a mountain spirit.
Yeah.
And unlike everybody else, he cannot extract glamour from people. He has to extract it from the land. And guess where that
Which
land is
is-
right now? The Dustbowl. Okay, Adam, why don't you give everybody a little taste of your changeling?
I don't want to. Then we beat the hell out of Paul Tinkerton, chilling extraordinaire, building things that I imagine but always failing, coming up short.
As is the weakness of your Githane.
Yes. Dexter's toes, voila.
God damn it. There we go.
Yeah, so
Nobody
Adam,
asked for this.
Adam's character is basically a junkyard artist, just welding together pieces of metal and whatnot in his family's scrapyard until a freak accident reawakened his inner fairy spirit, and he just made a brief reference to the fact that he took the merit Dexter's toes, and people have been making foot sex memes ever since.
As they should. I can't hate on it. Like, they're correct in doing it, but...
I would have preferred if you were dog welder.
Oh man, the dog welder.
Someday we'll get that Section 8 movie.
He knocked out Lobo.
And he welded a dog to him.
Most
Okay.
underrated.
Last but certainly not least, Melinda, would you so kindly tell the audience a brief bit about your changeling?
I believe Charlie will do that for me because he did it last time, and I honestly don't remember what he said. I'm going to be completely honest.
Are you that fucked up right now?
No, I just have a shitty memory.
Okay,
He also helped me with my character as well, so that helped. And so did X.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little weird, like, talking for you, because it's like, oh yes, let me tell you what the woman thinks. Isn't that right, the woman?
No. Well, you're the hype man.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I was
Raven?
gonna say if you have a dom sub relationship, it's a lot less weird, I guess.
True story.
Yeah, but like this isn't that dynamic.
I'll allow it. It's okay.
She consented. All right. Raven will be playing Eleanor Covington, a Slua, the fairy born of nightmares, with a darker bent. She is a librarian that was always more drawn to storybooks and spending time alone until one day she found herself actually transported into them, and that's when her fairy self awoken, along with a companion born of the dreaming, a fairy cat by the name of Willow.
That's a very good changeling cat name, but it also would have been fun if you went like something like Boots.
Boots.
Boots or Mr. Snuffles.
I guess you're not wrong.
Fucking Daestra.
Why is this being made out of pure dreams called Boots? It's because his little white feet look like little white boots.
No, it's not me, Daestra. I don't share. No, nobody gets the leash but me.
Oh, I forgot I read that story. Okay. So as I said, the year is 1993, and we have not quite moved to the main stage where our story will take place. Right now, the setting is San Antonio, Texas. In the year 1933, it has been a rough couple of years since the Great Depression hit that awful Black Friday, and almost to coincide with it, like a harmony in a symphony, the Dust Bowl has begun to ravage northern Texas as well as regions extending to Oklahoma, almost all the way up to the Canadian border, essentially, if you've ever looked at a map of the Dust Bowl. I think it went all the way up to the Nebraskas. And so we got a little bit of your all's backstories when we did the prelude, but some of you have been around for quite a while. Some of you are newly born changelings, I believe. Melinda and Adam's characters are both newly crystallized. But Kyle also, I believe. Kyle is also his character was also born right at the Advent, so he's been a changeling for about 2 or 3 years. But Chaz's character has been, I believe at this point, you've been a changeling for almost a decade.
Yeah, he's been around for... I left his age ambiguous because I wasn't sure exactly what year you set it in, but he's He crystallized at about 17, so he'd be about 25 at this point, 26. So yeah, close to.
Okay. And I believe Mon Jarston is also, at this point, has been a changeling for a couple of years, I believe, right, Tom?
Well, he was around. He remembers the Old West. The ass end of it, but the Old West nonetheless.
Which, yeah. The Old West essentially ended around the 1910s, at least in some parts of the U.S. Texas included, and Xavier's Riker Redwind has been a changeling for, I believe, almost 100 years at this point. Probably closer to, what, 75?
No, because the massacre was indeed in 1830.
Okay, in 1830, yeah. So you've been a changeling for about 100 years at this point. Not including your mortal age. Which isn't so unusual for changelings, considering some of you age at an unusual rate.
Boom!
Well, the one bites the dust.
We lost Xavier.
It's okay. They can't tell because I'm hiding non-video participants in the Discord.
He doesn't like talking about that massacre, Josh.
It was at this point, it's almost 200 years ago.
Too soon.
It's still fresh.
It's 190 years ago.
In high school, I once made a joke about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and somebody legitimately told me too soon.
Really?
Bro, what?
That was almost 50 years ago.
Yeah, my grandma's died and she still makes jokes about it.
Man.
All right, so I assume that Kyle's character is probably a new transplant riding the rails into San Antonio, whereas Adam and Melinda's characters are probably San Antonio natives. Chaz's character as well. So what do you think has brought Mon Jarston and Riker Redwind into the wonderful city of San Antonio, where Texans themselves go to vacation?
Six Flags. Can you not?
At this point, Six Flags have been over Texas, but I don't think Six Flags, the theme park, has been established.
Yeah.
Not yet.
But at this point, I believe the Riverwalk has been built, so you do have that.
Oh yeah. I can go pee in it.
I don't know exactly what Mr. Jarston's doing, but I know that he's in the saloon. One specifically with saloon doors.
What'd you say about saloon doors?
One specifically with saloon doors.
Oh, okay. At this point, probably a bit of a throwback even to the old days of the Wild West. What about you, Riker Redwind? Has
I think at the end of the last one, I don't remember it all, and I can't go back to watch it.
Good luck.
I was approached by somebody with a certain house, and I was pointed in this direction.
Okay, so having long lived amongst your Garu relatives as a kinfolk who himself has special unique powers, but has been greatly mentally wounded by the battle against the Fomori and the Worm, you were met by an unusual changeling who pointed you in the direction of the city of San Antonio. And that's where we'll begin. So you all have been making your way as whatever your jobs or your occupations, however you occupy your time within the city of San Antonio itself, hit gravely by the Great Depression. Many people are out of work. Food is expensive. Now, even if this isn't quite the same as big cities like New York and Chicago, this city, like every city within the United States, and in fact the world, has been affected by the past couple of years. And it looks bleak. It's the amongst your kind, there is even whisperings that this is the beginning of the endless winter, the time where dreaming will die from the world, and banality finally wins, and you all will be wiped from existence. But one night... Well, go ahead, Adam.
Listen, but they're wrong. There's I guess 90 more years till 2020.
Then the endless winter starts.
Yeah.
If the coronavirus isn't some kind of nightmare chimera at this point, I don't know what is.
It's the worm. It's always been the worm.
So one night, going to bed, you all... Well, how about we do it this way? Everybody give me a D10 and just... A flat D10 and tell me whether you get a success or not.
Is the difficulty 10?
No, the difficulty's not 10.
Well,
success.
I
What's the difficulty?
botched then.
Oh, you botch. A success for Kyle. Who else gets a 6 or above?
I fail.
I got one.
You're looking for
Get
a
it.
six.
I got a 3.
I rolled a 2.
All right. So who succeeded? Riker, Redwind, and who else?
Kyle.
Me.
Only 2 successes then. Then you two will be very special in this scenario.
Oh boy.
So for the majority of you, a night passes just like any other night. You go home, you maybe take that slug of whiskey and you hit the hay. But for Gilbert Boyle and for Riker Redwind, they experience a dream. And being creatures of dreaming, you know that sometimes dreams can hold a little more than just the machinations of the subconscious mind. And this dream starts with you looking at the night sky, and you can hear the thunder of horses' hooves riding across the firmament, and you look up and you see a chariot pulled by a man with glowing hair. And as this man rides across the firmament, you see him just kind of pick his hand up and thread his fingers through the star almost like they were water. And as he pulls his hand out of the stars, he holds several of them in his hand, and he seems to take these stars in his hand and toss them onto the earth, and you see them scatter everywhere. And in this dream of yours, you see Kithane of all Kiths rushing to where these stars have been scattered. And you see yourself running to one of these. A seed has been planted where the star fell, and it seems to be sprouting like a tree. In this dream, some of the Kith try to uproot these saplings and take them into the freeholds, while other Kith stay where the seeds are, and they try to nurture them. And the ones that remove the seeds out of the ground, remove the saplings, they wither and die, but those that tend to the trees where they fall see the trees grow and grow and grow across the course of a single day. And when night comes again, you see that same man in the gleaming chariot pick up the trees themselves, and they turn into arrows between his fingertips. And he pulls a bow out of his chariot, and one by one he begins to fire the arrows right at the moon. And each arrow begins to hit its mark. And as one arrow after another arrow starts to waylay into the moon, you see cracks in the very surface of the moon, almost as though it were made of glass. And with the last arrow, the moon itself shatters into dust, and behind it there is a portal, where you see many of your own kind coming out of that fabled land, known as Arcadia, riding to return to fight the endless winter, to fight that last fight against banality. And with that, before the battle is resolved, you wake up. And that's where the dream ends.
That's where the dreaming ends. We're done.
Game over.
Hey, Fred, happy to see you here, buddy.
Hi.
So the two of you that witnessed the dream, what do you make of it? What do you think you experienced? It didn't seem to feel like an ordinary dream.
I suppose I'm...
Regretting
Yeah,
eating that trash can tuna?
Nope, never. That shit's amazing.
All the best
seeing
tuna
the
comes out.
return of a whole bunch of changelings. I don't imagine my character would know a whole lot about what's going on.
Do you have what's Changeling lore called in this one? Is that one Greymare?
Greymares are called- that's
Greymare. Yeah.
I have 1 dot in Greymare.
Oh, maybe.
Would you like to roll it at difficulty 7?
Sure.
What about Riker Redwind? What does Riker Redwind make out of this dream? He does recognize the Western changelings in this dream. They don't seem to be of the Nuneki.
Hey, JVGS7, how's it going? Josh, I believe you've read Jack Vance, haven't you?
That I've read Jack Vance?
Yeah.
Is he the guy that wrote
Dying Earth.
Dying Earth? Yeah.
I haven't had the pleasure of reading, but he's on my to-read list. I usually gravitate towards other Appendix N authors like Moorcock or REH. Sorry.
I will interpret this as for better or for worse, the Western changelings, or the Eastern, the immigrants.
I was gonna say you're technically the most Western form of Changeling.
The immigrants are more are necessary for some kind of change. Now, is that good or bad? I don't know.
What did you get on that roll, Kyle?
Got a 9.
A 9. So being a satyr, a being born out of the dreams of ancient Greece, you recognize that figure who was driving the chariot to be the Greek god Apollo.
What?
Yo.
Perhaps you met him once. Although I suppose you'd be more familiar if it was the god Pan.
Yeah, probably.
Even those of you who don't experience this prophetic dream, you hear about it perhaps amongst the other changelings when you make your pilgrimage to the Freehold, and it becomes quite the talk of the town, so to say. As it seems multiple Kithane have experienced the same dream.
I'm sorry, Blackgutter, but thanks for hanging out with us, buddy. We appreciate it.
See you, Blackgutter. Blackgutter.
And it seems the nobility of the court have holed themselves up within the inner sanctums of the Freehold and don't seem to be coming out to quite discuss the matter.
Ho, ho, ho.
Does
What
that
are they busy
include
with?
Rearid, or is Rearid just kind of like here?
You are a fledgling of the court, but due to your sheed birth, you if you were to beseech somebody like of the upper nobility, they might tell you, kind of hush hush that this matter will be spoken no more of at a later date.
So I'm on a need-to-know basis. Got it.
And so this dream sort of marinates amongst the Changeling Society for about 2 weeks. When were you about to say something, Tom?
Marinates for 2 weeks.
I don't know why that was funny.
No, they say the things that you do a lot tend to seep into your vernacular, and perhaps barbecuing it seeps into my own vernacular. But yeah, I would not recommend marinating most foods for 2 weeks. Overnight is usually the best. 8 to 24 hours. If you need something to marinate that deeply, just might as well use an injector needle. But that's an advanced barbecue technique that most people don't need to perform. But yes, so the situation sort of marinates for 2 weeks, and after that 2-week period, each and every one of you in your abodes gets a missive addressed to you directly from one Duke Hidalgo. And Duke Hidalgo is calling every changeling within the region of San Antonio and anybody within the adjacent areas of the Duchy of the Lone Star to make their way to the freehold within the city of San Antonio to discuss a very important matter.
Well, we can't say no.
You might be like, what the fuck is a duke?
John Wayne, I love him.
I don't think his career started yet. I know. I don't think Western films have even been developed yet. I think if you like Westerns, you're probably talking about books right now.
Well, that's because most people can just go in their backyards and get shot.
There might be some.
I'm not hanging out.
I read The Lone Ranger for Tonto.
I was about to say, at this point, I'm pretty sure it's still a radio serial.
Oh,
It might not even be a radio serial yet. I think that started like in 1935. I remember we talked about this.
I believe that was actually a documentary.
So Yusuf is saying technically the very first film was a Western because it was a film of a galloping horse.
Okay, I feel like that's a bit of a stretch.
That's
Like, that
what
could
I was
also
saying
be a
was
fantasy movie.
documentary.
What's up? What's up?
I think technically that's a documentary.
Yeah, fair point.
I thought it was that train.
Did the horse have a gun?
Did the horse rob a bank? Did the train rob a bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazily enough, I think the first animated film definitely has happened already. I think that was like around the 1910s or even like right at the beginning in 1920.
So I actually looked this up for like the 5 seconds. I was thinking that Hutch might own a movie theater, and I'm pretty sure Snow White was like 1920, if I'm not mistaken. This was a while ago. So I might be, but
Yeah, the first animated movie was a drawing of a dinosaur, or a little short animation of a dinosaur eating a tree that a guy drew frame by frame and just basically flip booked it. But yes, is there any preparations you all wish to make before you go to the Freehold in San Antonio?
Snow White was 1937, by the way.
37, really?
Yes.
Fuck me, I guess I was mistaken. Okay.
I believe
she's a
it's just-
she's a gilf at this point.
Probably a thing.
So Reared's technically been part of the Duke's court for a number of years now. Is there anything he's expecting me to do, like, as staff, or am I just supposed to show up also?
I would say with the way things have been going, you are just as in the dark as most people are. Most of the commoners are. You would essentially be attending as a guest. Although, if you would wish to speak at any sort of assemblage, you may hold a little more weight in what you say than a commoner might.
No, I think Reared's probably just gonna try to get there early, and he's probably gonna try to catch the ear of any of the higher ups that he can. See if he can glean any more information to try and assuage some the fears of some of the underlings who might not have access to such information.
What about the rest of you?
I will make my way.
I'm gonna show up and just be like, all right, might as well go.
Yeah, I'll probably start heading off too.
My calendar's nothing but empty.
Well, what season is it, Josh?
What season? I will say it is.
Season 2. No.
No, we're still in season 1 on this, Adam.
You know,
I will say it is August, so it is still hot as balls outside.
Gross.
All right, then I will leave my coat on my horse.
Yeah, so August in Texas is still 90 degrees plus.
sleep. Oh.
Climate change hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Wait, what hasn't happened yet?
Climate
Climate
change.
change.
Oh, climate change. It was still fucking hot.
We got them August rain sometimes.
Oh, well, you're in San Antonio, so it is actually humid due to the San Antonio River.
Yeah.
Ah,
It does
And
rain.
the seasonal bird poopings.
Yeah.
Yeah, the grackles.
but I'll make my way there, hoisting my bandolier over my shoulder.
And your gun forged out of a piece of death scythe or whatever. Or what did you go with that one again?
What?
I don't know about
Shit.
gun, but I ride atop the pale horse.
You didn't get
That's dope as hell.
I mean, I did. I don't think we ever banged out the details on that.
Okay. You do have a special gun though, right?
Yes.
You have a chimerical gun.
Yeah. If you want to make it made from the metal of Death Scythe, then fucking go ahead for it. That's metal as fuck.
No, you're just borrowing Death's brother's gun.
Oh, there you go, Strife's gun.
Throwing dead the kids' guns.
Adam, shut your mouth.
Well, what level is your chimerical weapon?
5 dots.
5 dots.
Oh, holy shit!
We will say you have a gun forged out of the same metal as Death Scythe, and it is a cold iron gun.
Nice. I can take on 2 seats. Well, hang on. Does it make my bullets cold iron? Or do I have to, like, bludgeon them?
It's just a melee.
We can say that it will at a gun that high of a level, we'll say it essentially functions as firing cold iron.
All right.
And whatever bullets you put into it becomes whole iron.
Incendiary. Damn it.
Ah, dang it!
Fighting a werewolf, put silver bullets in, fires cold iron.
Damn it. It's a waste of money.
Every time.
Yeah, so Rearid arriving first is going to find that the inner area of the freehold is still locked off, and I want you all to guess where the freehold in San Antonio is. What is the area most suffused with glamour within San Antonio?
Is it the Alamo?
You indeed arrive at the Alamo,
Draft house.
which known to you in the Changeling speech is simply called La Mission. And so
We're missing?
So Rearid arriving to La Mission, which is an area on the outside, obviously in the real world, you see the Alamo, still not quite as rebuilt as it is in modern times, but at this point already a historical area and has been turned into a museum. You walk through the double doors at the front of the Alamo, and the area immediately changes into the grandeur that embodies the very spirit of freedom that the Alamo represents to people, as this place is equally the Presidio that it was transformed into, the mission it originally started as, and it is essentially a castle made of fortified limestone and adobe, and looking upon the garrets and the parapets of the walls, outside you see the wild beauty that is the dream of Texas in the rolling plains and the wildflower and the post oaks, and even the chimerical version of the San Antonio River. And you find that most of the upper members of the court still seem to be sealed away in where most meetings of the Changelings are held, which would be the chapel within the Mission.
So who's around at the moment?
Who's around? I will say there's a few other Changelings who have probably arrived early. There's probably a Boggin who keeps the day-to-day runnings of the Mission up to date.
Are the Boggins the ones that always lie?
No, those are
Puka,
Pukas.
that's right.
Boggins are basically the Keebler elves, where they like to organize things and they like to help people and keep everything running smoothly.
They're the ones that rightfully everyone should like.
Yes. They do not get cold. They do not get cool, violent powers, but they are essentially the universally liked amongst the Changelings. They don't steal things. They don't lie. They're not snooty assholes. They show up and they help.
They make things that don't break.
R.I.P.
Do I know this guy?
Being a lower nobility of the court, you probably do. We'll go with his name is Frederick. In real life, he's probably an accountant of some sort. Probably difficult to find work in his position right now.
Is Frederick his fairy name or?
No,
He
that's
just
his.
lets you
We'll
go
say
by
that's his. We'll say that's his mortal name, his seeming name.
Okay. So, probably right at this moment, probably a bit of anxiety going on through Riordan. He's not in control right now, and probably in a part of his subconscious that he'd rather not acknowledge, that probably freaks him out a little bit. He knows something's going to go down. He knows that this is going to be a big deal, but he's going to try to bury that, straighten himself up, put on the full show of his regal bearing. And I'm going to approach Frederick.
Okay. You approach the bug, and he seems to be taking notes within a notepad, trying to keep track of who's arrived and who's yet to arrive.
Morning, Fred. How goes the duties today?
Really, well, you see, there's plenty to keep me busy around here, despite the let's say, current lack of attendance. I've had to see everything around here while everybody's been holed up within the chapel.
Oh, it's terrible. Anything I can do to assist you?
If you could make sure anybody who has yet to get here gets here, that would be fantastic. But I don't know if you want to go run around playing courier.
Alas, I fear the limits of my sovereign can only do so much. Tell me, Fred, has anyone said anything? A few of our constituents begin to grow nervous, and I've not the words to tell them, to calm them. I'm sure any tender morsel might be worth something to someone.
They've been rather secretive about everything, but I don't think the secret is as secret as they'd like to think it is. It's a bit of an open secret, not much of a secret at all. Did you, kind of gets in and whispers to you, did you experience it? Did you have it? The dream?
I was not one of the lucky few, no. Everything I know is hearsay.
No, me neither, but what else could it be about?
Well, I'm more than willing to hear your interpretation, Fred.
I think there's people on the moon.
Apollo's gonna blow up the moon, man.
The Earth is flat, man.
Good man.
I mean, yeah, many indeed do say it is Apollo they see in the dream, but I've heard rumors it was Pan or even Demeter. I'm hoping something big is going to happen, something that'll fix this. The planet itself, so bereft of greenery and life. I don't know. What do you make of all of it? Certainly, you've heard it from at least someone.
This could be the waning moon before the waxing, or at least I'd like to hope. Perhaps the Trods will reopen, perhaps we will see our brethren return from Arcadia, though they would have to pry what we've built from our cold dead hands. I would no doubt rejoice at seeing a few more of us, they're never enough. I think the mortals these days need all the help they can get, don't you?
Yes, the mortals, but
Oh,
weird. It
Kinane,
feels like
sorry, I lapsed into vampire for a second. Reared totally said Kinane.
The Canaan, yes, but it seems like every year there's fewer and fewer of us, and these bleak couple of years certainly haven't seemed to help. Every gathering, it seems I write down fewer and fewer names, and not for lack of attendance.
I tell you, if the Trods could reopen, I would welcome every single Arcadian she with open arms, provided they could see past their own self-interest for a moment. Huh. But look at me going on like a fevered schoolgirl.
I will say at this point, more and more of you begin to trickle in. The few changelings that there are within the city, and some from even the outskirts, and a few who have made a long journey from other parts of the massive state that is Texas, the massive Duchy of the Lone Star, which, by the way, is the yeah, that is the canonical name, by the way, of Texas in Changeling the Dreaming. It is the Duchy of the Lone Star, and it belongs to the Kingdom of the Burning Sands.
They cannot control the whole thing. It's too big.
Too massive.
Too rough.
But as more changelings begin to gather within the open hallway of the Mission, there is a creak at the door as Frederick is beckoned, and he pulls the doors wide open, letting you all into what is known as the chapel, which coincides with the actual real-world chapel within the Alamo. This one being of a significantly larger area, with enough pews to fit the multitude of changelings that have arrived, although not quite enough to fill it up even close to capacity. The walls lined with equal amounts of statues of the Catholic saints as well as heroes of the Kithane. And where the altar would be stands Duke Hidalgo. And Duke Hidalgo is a she of a regal bearing, perhaps almost a caricature of nobility, being of a very Spanish appearance. His appearance a cross between what you would expect a Renaissance artist and a conquistador put together would look like, with a very large, flamboyant, almost Dali-esque kind of mustache, and his dark hair combed back, a ruffles around his neck in an almost Elizabethan sort of fashion, and the cuirass of a conquistador, and a sword at his side. And any of you who have been within the city for a while will recognize him. But at his side is somebody that you, Xavier, recognize. It is the very changeling who found you out within the desert and guided you to the changeling society here within the Western world. He is also a she, and you would recognize him as a young man called Duke Greyhawk, and his appearance is unusual as his blends the native New Nehi look with the look of the traditional European changelings. And at the other side of Duke Hidalgo is somebody that none of you seem to immediately recognize. It is an Eshu woman who seems to be dressed in a folklorico dress and adorned with jewelry made out of turquoise.
Oh, we lost Josh.
All right.
He's the important one.
Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong one. There we go.
Texas Internet. You don't want to,
All right, Adam, you're the storyteller now. Go.
Oh,
Josh is back.
Yeah, I heard the voice.
Yeah.
I heard the laugh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yes. What was the last bit you all heard?
Folklorical dress.
Yes, an Eshu woman dressed in what appears to be a folklorico dress and adorned with turquoise jewelry. And as everybody begins to take their seats within the pews, you are hit with just how few of you there are compared to previous gatherings, at least those of you who can remember it from at least even 5 years ago, back in the year of 1928. And there are murmurs amongst the commoners and even some of the nobility who have been assembled and weren't invited within the chapel right away. And Duke Hidalgo puts his hand up and begins to calm everybody down. He says, my fellow Kithane, I know to many of you there is no mystery as to what is to be the discussion of the current hour. There has been a dream of prophecy amongst many of you, but not amongst all of us, and it has been the very duty of us, the nobility, to discover what is exactly the meaning of this dream which has come upon us. And so we have gathered and convened these past 2 weeks to discuss the exact nature of this portent that has come upon us. And we have gathered the the best and brightest scholar amongst our people. And we have come to some understanding of exactly the meaning of what this dream portends for us and our people. And at that, there is a massive brouhaha of people just shouting questions, almost ignoring the decorum set forth by the sovereignty of Duke Hidalgo.
We are changelings. Like half the room is mentally 12.
Yes, and this being still prior to the moon landing, many of you are, most of you are going to be commoners, or there aren't many Shi to kind of look down at people just quite yet. And as Duke Hidalgo manages to regain control of the crowd, he asks essentially for a show of hands. How many of you have experienced this dream?
I raise my hand.
I raise my hand.
Some people just want to watch the world.
What was your dream? I had the brains.
I didn't get no beans.
I raised somebody else's hand. It's kidding.
Yeah, I have a dream all the time.
Dreaming that all men are created equal.
Yeah, so Riker and Gilbert and Mon all raise their hands. Mon, I'm assuming side-eyeing everybody else, trying not to be caught off guard. As there is a sort of look of awe, as it seems as fewer than a third or a quarter of you seem to have experienced this very phenomena.
Huh. Ghastly group they be, eh?
And I will say a clericon next to you kind of shrugs, not being one of the blessed few to experience the dream of prophecy amongst your people.
The thing is, Jarston is not thinking of the same dream.
No. What dream is Mon Jarston thinking of?
Because of my flawed dark fate, I constantly have nightmares about my dark fate.
Oh god, I'm gonna die. Why aren't you guys freaking out?
Ain't something to be proud of.
He's like, we can't all be so lucky.
Huh? You just give him the most bewildered look.
We can't all be so lucky as to know when we're gonna die.
And Duke Hidalgo says, after consulting the scholars and amongst ourselves, we have come to a somewhat unified interpretation of this dream. There is a great work that is to be done, not just by us, but by the dreamers amongst us too. The Kinane, the seeds, the stars that the god Apollo gathered in his hand and spread across the land, have been sown in order to do this great work that we do not know of. And it is our job to foster them in these dreams. As hard as that is to be in these coming times that we live in, these present times we live in. And once again, the brouhaha begins once again. As the clericon next to Mon Jarson says, why don't we take them in then? We can protect them better nearby us. Sown all over. What good is that going to do to us? There's hardly any of us to watch all of them, even if they were all in one place. To which the Duke Greyhawk speaks up. And he says, that cannot be done.
Boom.
Who do we lose?
Huh.
Melinda.
She fell asleep watching
She
hentai.
fell asleep watching hentai.
Somebody pull her back in.
Adam.
She should be caffeinated.
can-
She should have access.
There we go.
Put her back in. It's kidding. Not.
Oh, I pulled her back in. I have the
Yeah.
power of God on my side. The power of God in anime.
You're the Pope of this.
Yeah, sorry about that. Like, it didn't even beep for me, so I didn't know that it shot me out and out.
It's okay. But yes, Duke Greyhawk speaks up and he says, the dream is clear. These dreamers that have been sown across the land need to be nurtured in the very soil that they were planted in. To which the natural question comes up amongst the assemblage.
I get you. Putting them in the ground. That's my specialty.
Yes.
As I start twirling my chimerical gun.
As the assemblage goes somewhat quiet at the words, and the Eshu woman speaks up and says, "No, they have already been put in the ground. Our job is to find these dreamers and nurture them in the native soil they were planted in." And once again, the assemblage erupts into argumentation as the question arises, exactly where are these dreamers? To which the answer by the nobility, by Duke Hidalgo, says they have been spread all over the Western world, and some even further than that. We have some difficulty in interpreting where they have fallen, but we have managed to combine our powers of interpreting and remembering the dream in order to pinpoint where some of them are.
Oh.
And that is the duty set before us. Those of you who are willing to go, and I hope it is everyone here, must leave the freeholds to find these dreamers and to nurture them, to ensure no harm comes to them, that they may complete the great work set before us.
More child rearing, great.
What's up?
More child rearing.
Oh, babysitting? Nah.
To which the Duke says, are there any questions?
Rearid will raise a hand.
And Jarson will interrupt. How are we supposed to be doing that? Exactly.
The Eshu woman speaks up and says, they have been spread all over the Western world, and as Duke Hidalgo said, some even further. We can only find those we have pinpointed and have some set forth what those of us we can to watch over them. We do not know how long it will take for this great work to come to fruition, but the mission is as long as it takes for that great work to be completed. And with the...
And how we gonna just wake them up? Because I know how I did, and quite frankly, I don't think they'll appreciate that.
What happened with you?
Does Mountain Walker openly say that?
No, I'll keep it to myself. I don't want to talk to him.
That guy's weird. I hope I don't end up with him on this mission.
He's weird and loud. Oh, I'm glad I never have to see him again.
What we are looking for are not Kithain, Duke Hidalgo says. We are looking to nurture the Kinain who have been planted by Apollo.
I will still have my hand up, just waiting,
Patiently waiting
for my turn.
While the man in the duster coat and the twirling gun keeps interrupting.
I do changeling politics for a living. This is a typical Tuesday. Looks like this for me.
Yeah, in modern times, the sort of speech, the way Mon Jarson is speaking to the Duke, would not be taken quite so lightly. But with as few of you as there are, things are a little different before what is it, 1968?
Yeah, everyone's a bit more lax.
He says, "Sir Liam, you have the floor. What is your question?"
Your Grace, forgive my ignorance, but how exactly are we to know which dreamers have been marked by Apollo? It sounds like we haven't even... It sounds like we've not even pinpointed a location, let alone how many countless of the Kinane might be there. How are we to know which ones to nurture and which ones might be a diversion we can't afford?
The Eshu woman will speak up and say, "We have spent the past 2 weeks crafting a chimerical item that will assist those who set forth upon the great work. And we have pinpointed the location of many, but not all, of these seeds of Apollo."
And do we have names for these dreamers?
We do not have names, only the general location where they may be located.
And will these locations be disseminated amongst the volunteers, or are we simply to choose?
Duke Greyhawk speaks up at this point and says, "We will divide you best amongst your individual abilities, those of you who will accept this great work."
We will divide you based on who we think you work best with.
I want to be my friend's teacher now.
No, see, they did that, right? They put everybody else together, and they're like, all right, who do we have left? Ugh. Oh, that'll have to work.
B team, let's go.
We're fucking, like, Q team, man.
So Duke Hidalgo is the one that asks, "So who amongst you is willing to engage in this great work to reopen the paths to Arcadia to bring our brethren back? This will not be without its danger, and we cannot guarantee you that we are sending you into safe places."
As always, Your Grace, I go where the court requires.
And it seems as though the people willing to raise their hands, or do any of you raise your hands at this point?
Yes, I silently raised mine.
I will probably stand and say what I said, but I don't know if that's a breach of decorum, but...
No, it's very part of the bombastic politics of the Kithane.
I just figured we were always standing.
I will also raise my hand then, I guess.
I'll raise my hand like, I need to be inspired to do something, so yes.
I need a reason to live. I got nothing better to do. Might as well save the world.
Well, I don't want to look like I'm being left out, so I'll raise my hand. Also, I need to travel around, look for who sold me and my posse out.
Oh, that's a damn good question, Josh. I want an answer to Daestra's question.
Well, I don't have my multiple monitors anymore.
So, Josh, in this situation, what would you do if all players said no? I think he knows us well enough that we buy into the social contract that he knew we wouldn't, but I'm legitimately curious.
Well, I don't know. Not everybody has said yes yet, Kyle. Does Gilbert raise his hand? Travel to new and dangerous places?
Okay, why not? My schedule's wide open.
Daestra, let me pull back the curtain a little bit. We have to say yes for the show.
Daestra, I would have just told anybody who said no, they would have just had to have rolled new characters who would have said yes.
Railroading,
And there goes Paul.
It goes against my right as an American.
We are not railroaded on these streams, but we are on a trail at the very least. The amount that we, walk around that trail is negligible.
The actual answer though, Daestra, is I would have had some story hooks from their preludes I could have used to, let's say, encourage them to engage upon the chronicle. But thankfully, I do not play with people who are the thief in the back of the tavern who says, "What's my motivation to follow the party into this situation?"
The paladin's got shiny stuff, right? Alright, I'll stick with him.
Yeah, but those of you who raise your hands, you see that there seems to be even fewer people that raise their hand who had the dream. Even fewer of them seem to raise their hand at this given scenario, and you seem to find yourself amongst a group of what may be about 24 people.
What, y'all got this dream got you all spooked?
Ooh, do you want to roll some kind of what is it? Manipulation?
I don't got manipulation. I'm not trying. I'm speaking genuine.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you give me a charisma empathy?
Oh, I got 2 successes. My maximum.
I will say the Clericon who is sitting next to you and one other person also raise their hand.
Okay, I have a question real quick, and I don't know if this has been retconned or not. Do I know Drelox? Because I think he's the only other one with a house, and he chose Liam as well.
No, I did not choose Liam. I said that because I thought we actually would have to have a house.
Okay, so that was indeed retconned.
Yes.
Can I take a spin at whipping the room into a fervor?
Go ahead. Everybody has been told that the dreaming is dying and that they may have a chance to fight back, but everybody seems too scared to leave the freehold. What's Reard's passionate speech about to be?
You sit here in your freehold, knowing full well the world around you is crumbling, and you would deny a chance to help not only yourselves but the rest of your kind around the world, to help the dreamers that depend upon us, to help the very society to which you cleave. This duchy asks nothing of its members, and yet we serve to our best. This is the first time our society has asked anything of us, and I'm asking all of you, help us, not for us, but for you. Will you take this mission with me?
Do you have leadership, Chaz?
You better fucking believe I got leadership.
Give me charisma leadership.
Do I get to use my specialty in Here's the Plan?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's my difficulty?
People are pretty spooked about the whole thing. I'll say it's a difficulty 8.
8. I feel like this is the kind of thing Rearid would legitimately spend willpower on, but I also feel like this is the kind of thing I can probably do, so I'm not going to do it. Okay. Don't fuck me! Woof. At a diff 8, that is only 1 success. I got a 9, an 8, and a 1.
A 9, an 8, and a 1. So one more tentative hand manages to raise itself. As we'll say another redcap sort of stands up and says, "Easy for you to say she. But the balefires are dying. And this is the only guaranteed place where we know we will not succumb to banality like the others."
Oh, do you know that? Do you, for certain? You stand before me and tell me the balefires are dying, and then rather than reignite them, you would allow them to die. And you wish to tell me that as you're watching the embers fade, that you are safe here.
He sort of bites his tongue and sits back down, but he does not raise his hand.
That's what I thought. And the rest of you? The rest of you who feel safe here? Look down on me for my noble blood if you wish. I did not ask to be this. But you'd best damn well believe that I use what I have to the best of my ability, which is more than I can say for any of you. So sit here, hide, despair while you watch the last of your embers flicker, or the last of the balefires fade into shadow. I shan't. And if that makes me a haughty noble, well then I apologize. But again, I will use what the dreaming gave me. I only wish I could say the same for the rest of you.
Like, Paul would say something, but like, I don't know how to describe it in, I guess, my words, but is we like allude to like the Alamo being the last stand, and this is our chance to fight the big boss, I guess.
Big boss.
Yeah,
Fight back against the endless winter, Adam.
Yeah, to fight back against the incoming wave of banality.
And it's okay, Adam. Not everybody knows how to pull
Yeah.
a last ride of the Rohirrim at Lord of the Rings. But why don't you also give me one of those charisma leaderships?
Oh no, Valerinos, I had 7 dice in that roll. I listed off the ones that I felt were salient. I had 2 successes and a 1.
Got 1 success.
1 success. I will say you inspire another knocker to raise his hand, saying, "I hear we're building a great work. You're gonna need a couple of knockers."
I love a couple of nice knockers.
Yeah.
Just the satyr.
Someone had to say it. Oh, excuse me. I love a couple of nice knockers. There you go.
General cutscene.
So Duke Hidalgo looks, and the other 2 people standing next to him seem a little disappointed at the turnout, but they will dismiss the rest of the assemblage as he says, "I understand it is a difficult situation for all of us. And though I may be the Duke of this land, I am not a tyrant. The balefighters and next to them are where it is safe. The rest of the world has become a very hard place. Those of us that do not succumb to banality find little glamour in the people of the world, but we," he says, looking to those of you who raised your hand, "will not go gently into that good night." Oh, go ahead. What does Gilbert Boyle have to say?
Oh no, I had raised my hand to go with him. What do I have to say? Nothing needs saying that anyone actually wants to hear.
And so a good majority of the assemblage are dismissed, and group by group, people are called back into the chapel until finally those of you present are the last who remain.
Yay, I got the last picks.
I had the last
Yay,
pick,
D team.
'cause,
Do you all have anything to say to each other as the group slowly dwindles down to you guys?
Howdy.
Could be worse.
Howdy.
I will just simply nod. It is an honor to serve amongst Kithane of such noble bearing.
Do you have
I'm gonna go look for Duke Greyhawk.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna go look for Duke Greyhawk.
He remained in the chapel as group by group changelings are being assembled. But you will get your chance to speak to him as the last 6 of you are called into the chapel where the assemblage was held. And Duke Greyhawk and Duke Hidalgo and the Eshu woman whose name you have yet to learn are standing there. And he says, my people, to you goes the last assignment. And I will say, it is not an easy one. We were only able to find a handful of sure places where these seeds of Apollo have been planted. He says, this, if you do not know, is Duke Greyhawk. And this is Duquesa Margarita from the Duchy of Turquoise and the Duchy of Copper. I will travel with them after this and also try to inspire whatever people we can to take up this work. But to you goes the last place we have. It is a small town north of here in the Panhandle called Crucifixion.
Sounds like a nice place.
Crucifixion, Texas. I haven't heard of it before.
He says it is a small town. It had a growing economy until recent years. It was a farming and cattle community until the Dustbowl hit the area.
Am I going home? Is that what I'm here?
Do you have like a? Do you have any kind of geography or politics, Gilbert Boyle?
That's an excellent question.
I have a fuck ton of politics. Is this something I might be inclined to, or no?
If you want to see how well you know the local geography of Texas, you can give me an intelligence politics.
I'm gonna move one of these dots real quick, and I only do that because computers don't exist yet. So I don't know why I put a point in computer. Oh, I rolled for it. That's why. I forgot how much of this character I just ran.
Choice, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off.
Hey, he can use an abacus like nobody's business. What's the difficulty, Josh?
I won dot in computers too, Kyle. Yeah.
So I got one dot in politics. Sure, that sounds like a smarter thing to do.
Yeah, why don't you give me a diff 8 politics then, if you want to see if you know where crucifixion is.
Sweet. I'm gonna fuck this up.
Did you also make a roll, Chaz?
Yeah. What was my difficulty?
Same thing, difficulty 8. You're trying to see what you know about a small town in North Texas.
I got a 3.
What was it? Was it straight politics, or do I get to add something?
No, intelligence politics.
Okay.
Hello, Vortigon.
Okay, 1 success. that made a big difference.
And you got 3, Chaz?
Yes.
One of these days will be good at World of Darkness games, I promise.
Lies.
We've been saying that for years.
Right.
So, Gilbert, you recognize the name of the town, but you don't know much about it. You do know it's very much like the same kind of community you left from, and having been kicked out of the cattle ranches, that area of the country isn't doing so well.
Low Vortigon.
So probably with your moonshine contacts, Reheared, you know a little bit about the town. Maybe Pa used to run up some moonshine that way to some of the old hillbilly bars up there. But you know at some point it was probably at least a town of around 4,000 people, maybe 5,000, all working either the farms, the shares, the cattle ranches. But much like Gilbert would know, that's the area that has been hit the hardest by both the Depression and the Dust Bowl.
Do I have a figure for the population now?
Yeah, 3 successes. You're guessing at this point it's probably less than 1,000, maybe dropping down as low as 500, 400 people.
Jesus Christ, that is a meteoric downfall.
Yeah, as already at this point, many people have been leaving the areas around Oklahoma and Texas to try to find, we'll say, greener pastures in California and the like.
I see you have placed tremendous trust in us, Your Grace. I will do my level best to see that it's not misplaced.
It is not with any joy that I send you into this area, though I do trust the competency of you, Riorid, young as you are, and your compatriots here. Many who are new, but anybody who is willing to stake their lives on the dreaming, I believe I can trust.
So I'm gonna look at Greyhawk and give him a look like, do I have to go with these guys?
Is there any more of me in the back?
He kind of gives you a nod and a bit of a half smile, and he said, as he seems to acknowledge you, but there's a bit of slyness in those eyes that dictate that indeed these are the people you will be stuck with. As Duquesa Margarita pulls one of the many turquoise rings off of her hands, and she will give it to Ririd, the one person here being acknowledged as other nobility, and says, "This is the ring that was mentioned earlier. It is a specially crafted chimerical item. It can detect any dreamer of sufficient potential, which we believe should be enough to locate the seat of Apollo in the city that we are looking for."
Ririd will bow and accept it with reverence. Is this something I should list on my character sheet?
Yeah, we'll say it's like a 1-dot chimerical item.
Call it Ring of Power.
The One Ring.
Wondering.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's
Oh,
a very Mexican folk looking thing. I'll say it's a gold ring with like a turquoise stone in the middle.
It's a mood ring.
Says you will have to make physical contact with the dreamer while wearing the ring, whether to gauge their connection to the dreaming while you wear it.
Anything else I should know about it?
No.
It gives you terrible nightmares.
It gives you non-stop nut. No, she will tell you that is all you need to know about the ring. It is a very simple item, has a very specific function in this case.
How you mass produce these?
Why not give one to everyone?
Do you say that? Do you say that as you kind of look at it as she puts it in his hand? You just kind of like peek up to it.
So like, I could probably make one, but I don't know if it would work right.
What is the affirmative signal I should be looking for should I make contact with the streamer?
You will be given a sufficient vision of their potential within the dreaming. Their potential to dream. Were you about to say something, Chaz?
No. Rearid's probably just like staring into the ring and contemplating the implications.
As Duke Hidalgo says, I must warn you to this. Area we are sending you into, it is part of a banality zone. It has been... Oh, go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, yeah, I ride through a lot of those. They ain't pleasant, but ain't nothing too hard to get through.
A seed of Apollo flourished in a banality zone. How is that possible?
There gotta be a strong one.
You really want to ask a god what's possible?
I'd have a couple questions for them if the opportunity arose.
Never been much of a choir boy.
We have yet to determine the age of these seeds. Perhaps they have been planted long ago and are ready to begin the great work, but as far as we know, they may be but a baby.
Is there a possibility the seed could have already died?
We do not think so, or we do not think we would have been able to detect it within the prophecy of the dream.
Very well.
It's okay, Chaz. I'm not gonna pull a what is it? Tyranny of Tiamat, or which one is it? That we played?
Yeah, well, we did. It is on. No, it's on that shelf because I don't really like it that much. But yeah, the Horde of the Dragon Queen, the Rise of Tiamat. What about it? Which part?
The MacGuffin where it's like find these badass magical items. That's your whole mission.
You can't get them.
And then, yeah, in the book, in the book for the Dungeon Master part, it says if they get close to it, this stupid fucking thing happens, so they cannot obtain the item.
Tyranny of Dragons was literally the worst thing to happen to D&D since the Satanic Panic. I hate that fucking adventure so much. And here's the thing. It was written by Wolfgang Bauer, a legendary D&D designer, and he fucking knew it was bad because his name's not on the second book.
Ooh.
He just pulled a don't put my name on that one.
It's like he helped them out for the first half, and the second half they're like, nah, fuck you guys, you figure it out. They did not figure it out.
I had a fun time in that campaign because of Chaz running it.
Oh, thank you, my friend. That means a lot to me.
Hey,
I wasn't invited.
No, fuck you. You absolutely were invited. You just didn't come to Tim. I invited you several times. And I think I said, hey, you should come. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I was always invited on the days that I wasn't available.
I wasn't running it on the days you were available, Tom. I apologize. But you were still invited.
I know that pain, man, don't worry.
Yeah, but yes, that is how I met Chaz and Xavier, and how I was thus invited into CAFCON.
I do also have good times of running that just specifically because of you and the other people at the table.
Good
Oh
save.
god, it's so bad. It's like every bad move you could make as a DM, everything it tells you not to do in the Dungeon Master's Guide, everyone ever, they do it. And I legitimately think what happened was that Kobold Press didn't really have any faith in 5th edition after 4th edition bombed so hard. So they were putting all of like their major designers on Pathfinder stuff because they figure that was like the new hotness, and they just like outsourced it to the interns, and it fucking shows.
But yeah, there's a big part of the second part of the campaign where you have to find 5 magic dragon masks that allegedly have super bitchin' powers.
I love
But-
Skyrim.
Yeah, but it is written
That's
it is written in the module that if the players get close to getting the item, it is either a fake or some kind of magic bullshit happens that takes the item away from them. Like there's one of the masks is in a chest, and like in the book it says if the players unlock this using lockpicking without the super special key on one of the characters within this massive fucking castle, if they don't specifically pickpocket them and use the key to open it, well, fuck them. The dragon mask will disappear, and they can never get it again.
No. It was worse than that. It was worse. There was an enchantment on the chest that was tied to the dragon speaker in the Frost Giant Castle, and as soon as the dragon speaker died, the mask teleported out of the locked treasure chest. So you had to, in combat, while the rest of the party was fighting for their lives against this boss character, decide to fucking raid the chest. That was the only way you could have gotten it. And if you did get it, because they weren't smart enough to write an ending that didn't require the bad guys to have all 5 of the magic MacGuffins, the bad guys were just supposed to get it back, or it would be stolen while they slept, or just the worst kind of fucking railroading. And this made it into a professional D&D product. I hate it. I hate Tyranny of Dragons so much.
Well, last aside about this poorly written module, but the worst one is it requires you to kill all the players at one point.
Yeah.
And get revived by, what is it, the Magic Council or whatever?
Yeah, the fucking Council of Waterdeep, whatever the fuck they were. That was when Z quit. Z just
he
put up
hated
his hands
that
like,
so
no,
much.
I'm not doing this anymore. This module's bullshit. And like, that sucked. I think that was one of the last times I ever played with Zeke. Tyranny of Dragons might have killed one of my friendships. Well, okay. Seriously maimed. Let's not exaggerate. I am kind of tempted to like just run a heavily modified version of it, because the general idea is cool, right? Like the Cult of the Dragon and Tiamat, and I don't know, maybe actually getting to fight Tiamat would be nice instead of making it a general impossibility for her to be summoned. And if by some miracle she is summoned, she's nigh unbeatable, unless you can figure out some wacko random Nintendo cryptic bullshit, like damaging her temple with a fucking earthquake spell that'll drop her 3 CRs.
Do any of you have Earthquake? No, why the fuck would we do that? Well, it was important.
I hate, and none of the maps, none of the modules, like if you were playing with maps and minis, which I like to do sometimes, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit on a fucking table. Tiamat's temple is like something like 6,000 squares.
Oh, God.
I don't think,
Anyway.
okay, I'm exaggerating slightly, but only very slightly. It would not fit on like the largest fucking table that we had available at Tim's.
Sounds like a challenge.
All right. Enough shitting on the first D&D module to be published for 5th edition.
I have legitimate rage.
Was it the first? I thought it was the
Yes,
second or third.
it was the first. It was the fucking first, and that's why I think Kobold Press didn't have any faith in 5th edition. They just shipped it off to somebody else.
But yes, okay. So with that, Duke Hidalgo would say, please make your preparations. He gives you the direction of the crucifixion. And he says, yeah, tie up whatever ends you have within the city. And make your way over as soon as you can.
We're getting that feedback again.
There we are.
How much
Fucking Jesus, man.
I know, that was great.
Medium Italian became spicy
I don't
Italian.
even call it salty anymore, just spicy.
I like that medium Italian joke has stuck.
Yeah.
I saw that meme and I legitimately enjoyed it. It gave me a lull. What meme are we talking about? You should join our Discord.
I mean, I'm on the Discord, but I missed it.
I made a quick stupid meme about Chaz.
Oh,
if you go to Dank Memes, you can see it. It's one of the fairly recent ones.
All right.
This isn't a beach. This is a bathtub.
Okay. And with that, you all are dismissed from La Mission to make your preparations to leave the city.
They get a cannon from the top of the.
You're gonna try to get a pen from the Alamo, Adam?
Yeah.
You want to
Well,
let
Adam.
the Alamo?
I need my free
Do you want to
souvenir.
take the cannon?
Okay, to be fair, he's the knocker. So like, if anybody's gonna try and take a cannon off the Alamo, yeah.
He is not a pisky. That is the pisky thing to do.
Yeah.
2 questions, Josh.
Can I examine it and try to make it better?
Can I make this fucking 100-year-old cannon better?
Make it portable.
That's called a gun, Adam.
A hand cannon.
We had those already.
So
You
you want to look at one of the chimerical cannons and see if you can kind of like derive its make and craft?
Yeah.
Why don't you give me an intelligence craft in that case?
Okay. That's my 2 main things.
If you fail at this, Adam,
Is it difficulty 8 or 6 now?
I'll give it to you at a difficulty 7. You're looking at a chimerical item, but this is not like one of the. It's not like the toy box in that one campaign or chronicle we played in.
No, 5 successes. I did it.
Adam, potentially, if you could go into the near dreaming, you do think you could, possibly craft one of these cannons, but that would require you to venture into the near dreaming as you kind of inspect it.
I'll do it later then.
Oh,
But as you were probably instructed, the near dreaming is in of itself a fairly dangerous place to go, even if it is not as dangerous as the deep dreaming. And, you had a question, Chaz? You had 2 questions?
Yeah. Number 1, are we sealing this with any kind of oath?
Yes.
oh God.
You're stuck with us.
Ah!
Duque Hidalgo will ask you to seal the agreement that you will see the mission to the end as best to your abilities as you can with an oath.
So usually there's some kind of benefit attached to the oaths, is there not? As
Yes.
far as I understand.
If you are able to reestablish the freehold and protect the seat of Apollo until they are ready to complete their part of the great work, the dukes and duchesses of the Kingdom of Burning Sand are willing to vouch for any of you to join the nobility, the ranks of nobility.
Okay,
And,
Oh, go on.
yes, and those of you who are not already nobles will obviously be elevated in status.
Second question, are we being provided with any sort of like transportation or anything like a wagon?
A jalopy could potentially be acquired for you if you need one.
I'm just thinking about like in terms of transporting our crap.
I thought we were gonna take a simple horse and carriage.
I mean, that
Now
was still
you're
done
speaking
at
my
this point in time, wasn't it?
There's also there's some vehicles too, but they're rare.
Yeah,
I can get us there.
Train.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
you do not know my tricks, friend.
hitchhiking.
Are you asking for Duque Hidalgo to provide you with some kind of transport?
I will ask if he can, if he is able to, and if he would consider lauding such a benediction upon us.
Well, why don't you give me some of that manipulation empathy?
I can.
Because you're
do
like,
that.
can you give me a car?
Ooh, I only have 5 dice. I'm good at manipulation, but I have the bare minimum of empathy. What's the difficulty?
I'll say just difficulty 6. You're not asking for a magic sword or anything.
That is 4 successes, my guy.
Okay, yeah. Duke Hidalgo is willing to procure you a vehicle for transport.
Okay.
Can you procure a Gatling gun as well?
Jesus Christ, Adam.
What did you say,
Anything
Adam?
else?
You want a fucking howitzer? What do you okay? What is your legitimate?
Whoa.
Oh,
Oh,
My headphones came out.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Her headphones fell out. What is your legitimate plan for trying to inspire this guy? Just point guns at him and be like, "Imagine."
Imagine the fun.
Dream, damn it, dream!
Dream or
Imagine
die.
I didn't have this gun in your face.
Just tap the Gatling gun on his window. Tink, tink, tink. You dreaming yet?
Dream or die, boy.
Like, what do you think is gonna happen? There's 500 people. We can take them all.
Work that imagination, boy. Otherwise, it's gonna be all over the wall.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So what are you asking for, Adam?
I was just making a joke though. Like,
Oh, okay.
it's like,
You were asking for a gun, I'm assuming.
yeah, it's like Gatling gun. No, I don't have any.
Don't give it to him. He'll just throw it at a car.
Yeah. Use it. I only have one in firearms anyway. I can't use it for efficiently. Yeah.
I only have one in firearms.
Adam, I think the knocker thing to do though would be to try to build a gun.
Yeah. That's why I look at the cannon.
Gonna build a car out of.
I just built the.
He fucking offers the automobile, and you have like hold up his hands like, no, that won't be necessary. I'll build one.
I built it into house moving castle instead.
Don't worry, I got this, fam.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say Miyazaki movies or Studio Ghibli movies are probably the more appropriate anime references you can make in terms of this game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A Changeling the Dreaming game based on like Studio Ghibli movies. That'd be fun.
I was thinking of running a Dungeon Crawl Classics game for my nieces, and I thought a setting inspired by like the Miyazaki movies would be interesting. Like
Like
what's the
Howl's
first
Moving
one?
Castle.
yeah, well, Howl's
Mononoke.
Moving Castle and like Nausicaa Valley of the Wind and stuff like that.
I have to this day not seen Nausicaa.
I would say it is one of the best ones you can see. It is better than Tales from Earthsea, which was so bad it further strained Miyazaki's relationship with his son because he called him a failure for it.
Ooh.
Oh,
Get wrecked.
gotta love that Asian parenting.
Unpopular opinion: Studio Ghibli movies are overrated.
That's fighting words, Tom.
Them's fine words.
You know, I don't really consider myself much of an anime fan, but I legitimately will go to bat for Miyazaki movies. I don't think I've seen one I didn't like.
So are
I
you
think
all
he needs to
willing?
get over World War II.
So far,
I'm sorry, Josh. You're trying to ST here, and we're all weebing over you. What were you saying?
Are you all willing to sign the contract?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll set it with my foot. It's gonna be that.
Stop.
You know,
He
I-
took the merit,
the
Tom. He's
audience,
gonna use
Adam.
it.
I have to use it.
That doesn't mean he has to keep reminding us that he has it.
Yeah.
So you all signed the contract, and with that, you being the last group, if you have any remaining questions for the three dukes and the two dukes and the duchess, now
Is it like a legitimate like paper contract? Because normally a changeling oath would be like spoken. And
no, yeah, it's I know they're spoken.
I'm just making sure because
Yeah.
if there's like fine print that we need to read or like.
I don't know how to write.
I was going to say this is an oddly straightforward contract for the for Kithane Society due to the circumstances.
Because Rearit is absolutely going to try to Mark Zance this and like pick apart every little part of the contract and just make sure like what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
What is our oath of the long road?
No, if you want to give me like an intelligence law, you can go ahead and do that.
You know what? Sure. That's something that I would do, and I do have a dot in law.
I don't. Your laws don't apply to me.
The laws of man don't
What's my
apply.
difficulty, Josh?
The laws of man don't apply to me.
Josh will say, "Bah, I got a job to begin to," and start.
I need
moving it out.
beans.
I need beans.
Looking for the Mexican jumping beans.
I will say that it's a difficulty 7. Even though it's a fairly straightforward contract, it is being written by a she and a duke at that. Or it has been constructed by one.
Ooh, I failed.
Ooh, you failed.
I got a 6-5-4-3.
Oof.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, it is a fairly straightforward contract.
I trust Duke Hidalgo. No noble would ever screw over one of their lessers.
So are you agreeing to the contract, John Monjarston, before you leave?
I thought we already did.
Oh, okay. Are there any remaining questions then for those of you present?
I'm good.
I don't think Enva has said 2 words this entire session yet.
She is a slua.
That's true.
You just can't hear.
You've been whispering the whole time.
She's been raising legitimate points against many of the things that have been said. She's had some impressive insights, but because she can only speak at a whisper, nobody's heard her.
Everybody's yelling over her. Forever alone, Slua.
It'd be like that.
It do be like.
All right, do any of you have any questions before you leave to do your business?
Do we care to ask anything? No, I'm just gonna go do it.
You seem like you wanted to ask Duke Greyhawk something.
Oh yeah. I mean, the question was if I have to be stuck with them. The answer is yes, and we'll have to make do with the situation.
I will say before you leave, Duke Greyhawk will approach you and sort of put a hand on your shoulder, and as he puts the other to shake your hand. And he says, Mountain Walker, it's good to see that you have found yourself a place within our society.
It works for now.
It works for now, but I think in the coming days and the coming years we will need more people of an outside state of mind to the way things have been done for generations.
You'll know where to find me.
He says, I do not know the state of things within this crucifixion Texas, but I know the relationships between our people are strained, little as you know of them, having been away for most of your life. But I hope if any difficulties come up, you will be the man to sort them out.
I look around at the rest of my motley. It seems that way.
Love you too.
You've seen things that even our kind and your kind have yet to experience. I trust that will be of use in the coming years.
What is my current status with the guru?
I would assume they are currently unaware of I guess your AWOL status from their missions.
You have like a vendor badge to Anthrocon. They haven't upgraded you to VIP.
One day, maybe.
As you did essentially walk away from a scene of impressive slaughter after I believe it was a battle with some Fomori.
Well, I'll get back to them, right?
Yeah, I believe as you said, you decided to walk away after you saw too much trying to fight the worm.
Yeah, just like, man, this is... It grinds against you, right? After so long. You just want to take a break. And, I'm just on sabbatical.
And now I will say, those of you leaving, a car has already been pulled up to the front of the Alamo, with the as it is handed over to one of you. I don't know which one of you is immediately going to try to take the keys.
I have no drive, so no.
Does anybody have
Glenn,
drive besides me?
I have animal handling.
Yeah.
It has more
He has-
horsepower from the horse.
He has drive, but not for this vehicle.
Yeah.
You have one in
But
drive?
jokes.
One.
Okay.
I am technically the best driver here. I'm willing to take possession of the keys. However, I'm also willing to entrust it to one of you. As
Your chauffeur.
Hutch probably has his own transportation and has a few more important things on his mind at the moment. Okay, do you want the car or should I take it? Because I think it's going to come down to you and me.
Yeah, as this newfangled automated horse carriage is driven up to the front of the Alamo. But two-thirds of the party look at it in total astonishment. Only two of you seem to know how to pilot the damn thing.
Just sputtering jalopy.
I'll let Hutch take it because he's a better driver than me.
It would be blasphemy for a woman to drive it too.
This isn't Saudi Arabia, Adam.
Adam, listen, we're gonna have problems.
Is it like there's somebody?
That is not Adam's actual opinion, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't hear what he said. What happened?
It'd be blasphemy for a woman to drive.
Strong
Don't be
words. I know
surprised
what you're trying to say for the period.
Don't be
I also
surprised
don't-
if I throw him in for bait.
I actually don't know how scarce it was for women to drive at the time, but I assume that the rarity of having an automobile, it was probably mostly men driving them.
Yeah, it's because you gotta go somewhere for the most part.
They have to
What
go
are you saying,
somewhere away
Adam?
from their
That the women
families.
didn't leave the kitchen?
No,
Historically, that's probably true, but
See, you answered your own question, Chaz. I have the add to this situation.
I was gonna say, you'll have to remember it is the 1930s, while you are in the very
Oh, yeah.
conservative part of the country. Suffrage has become a thing already.
Women can vote. We're good.
My people's women have had rights for hundreds of years. I don't know why this is a new thing.
We'll say at this point in time, I believe
Damn.
technically mostly white women.
Xavier has been removed from the chat.
God, I love
Get your
this
progressive
internet.
Native American ideals out of here, Xavier.
You already took my laws for your fucking Declaration of Independence. Constitution.
Right. Those of you who have families, you have quite the explanation to give, as you have been asked to leave as soon as possible. Daestra, the current year is 1933 in the setting. If you want to look up what Changeling was like in the 1930s, there is a tiny paragraph about it in the Changeling 20th edition handbook, which is the kind of period I like to use. As fun as it is to run something with already a bunch of stuff written about it. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
So am I responsible for driving everybody, or are they gonna tie up their own loose ends on their own?
First of all,
I'm assuming they all made it here on their own.
I had a horse.
I have a horse, and it's probably faster than that thing.
Yeah, so this is kind of
jalopy.
other than the brief moment outside of the chapel, this is the first moment you guys have really been identified to be a unit or a troop at this point. If there's any meeting place or anything you all want to set up, this is the time to do it.
Saloon.
More alcohol.
Let's stock up on it for the long road ahead.
Is that all Mon Jarson says before he gets on his horse and goes home?
Yes.
Saloon. Saloon tomorrow, I'm assuming, is something what he says.
Yeah.
Very well then. Shall we
At high noon.
shall we take the day to tie our loose ends and meet at the saloon tomorrow?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, my shoes are already tied, but I suppose.
Rearward will sort of jingle the keys. Does anyone require a lift?
I'm tired of
That's
walking.
the thing. Ah, that's all right.
I'm good.
I've been
I'm
tired of
walking
walking.
away.
This contraption is fascinating. I shall take a drive with it. They say.
What?
So I'm just gonna go with I'm going with Hertz.
Hey, Bunny
going to
Queen,
punch
how's it
the
going? Hello and welcome.
No, I have a horse.
You have a cat. What are you talking about?
Yes, I do have a cat.
Or Hutch, your new knocker buddy asked you to take him home because he wants a chance to inspect the vehicle on the way there.
Seems like a reasonable request. Have I had it?
Sure.
Have I had much experience with knockers in the 8 years since my chrysalis? Sub-question, how many things have they caused to explode?
I will say at this point you are definitely aware of their reputation, but even in a large city like San Antonio, your people are rather few and far between. So unless you know a knocker well, you are probably mostly familiar with the small amount of the court you've experienced with Duke Hidalgo.
You may look but not touch.
But how do I get in then?
I will open the door for him.
Jeez.
Sassy as fuck.
I'll come along with you in your fun little jalopy. Got nothing but time.
Can I touch the seat?
Would it please the noble if my butt touched the seat?
He's gonna be real difficult, ain't he?
I'm tempted to see what he would do if I said no.
Do it. I dare you.
Alas, my duties are to the motley and not to my own, shall we say, predilections. By all means, Master Kazal, you may touch the seat.
Excellent. And I sit down, just sitting down on the seat then.
I was gonna say, Adam, that would have been a good moment to just grab the seat, rip it out, and look at it.
Missed opportunity.
Spring loaded. Upholstery.
Anyone else going with me, or is it just these two?
I think it's just them two. I had a horse.
Okay.
Woo!
I also have a horse. You're just take.
So, between the three of you on the jalopy, so to speak, who's getting dropped off at home first?
Oh, Boyle doesn't have a home.
Yeah,
I'm just laughing at homelessness.
that's kind of the thing, guy. Welcome to the fucking 30s, asshole.
Well,
You
then,
wanna
my
see
friends,
what-
it seems we're all in this together. I'd be happy to help you tie up your own loose ends before seeing to mine.
Want to drive with me, Gilbert? We're gonna be probably meeting up tomorrow anyway.
Sure. I need to pick up some my stuff, but that's about it. Or excuse me. Yeah, I need to pick up some of my stuff, but that's about it. I'll house at yours.
It'll save you a night at the motel. No, at this point, they probably would have charged you for the next night, though.
The inn.
So where do they go to pick up your stuff, Gilbert?
I don't know. Like, it's the nearest hobo town or
Hobo
little
shanty?
pop up in the area.
Yeah, so fun fact is there were a lot of hobo shanty towns at this point in history.
Near the rail yard, more than likely.
Yeah, so you'll drive to the rail yard where there is definitely like a small hobo shanty town set up.
I will drive to the hobo shanty town and wait for Crudar to see to his business here.
I'm just gonna hop off and go grab up my bundle.
I have to use the bathroom I showered through.
Okay.
Are you?
So in that brief moment of awkward silence, what do Kazaa and Relay have to say to each other?
And you, my friend, to where shall your businesses take you?
The scrapyard down the road.
No one has an actual house.
Well, Adam has a house. His house is just in the scrapyard.
Yeah.
The scrapyard's just a front to stop the robbers.
Oh yeah, since Daestra's actually in the chat, Daestra, you can actually see my Sabaton poster in my library. I remember we were talking about it one time.
I'm quite curious, sir. What's compelled you to volunteer when so many of our ilk had their courage fail them?
I will be honest.
I don't know.
Tired of failing, and hopefully, as a group, I can see the world and figure out what inspired me to like something to inspire me to build a great work.
Oh, we're not going to see the world where we're going, friend. I have a passing knowledge of the town, though I've not been there in years. It's little more than an ashtray at this point, I'm afraid. We might see the worst part of the world.
Well,
Know when to go up.
even the
Adam, the recruiter lied to you.
the even the ashtray may have a diamond in it, though. You never know.
Let us hope, my friend, let us hope. That's the whole reason for our expedition, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
Isn't that the most fun expedition you've ever heard of, though? To a small town in North Texas?
Ooh.
Could be worse. You could be going to Brownsville or Laredo. But I'm not
I'd rather
that
go to
sadistic.
Brownsville. North Texas sucks.
Dude, have you been to East Texas? East Texas sucks.
I mean, there's at least trees and shit.
They're all fenced off. I mean, yeah, if you want to look at them, bon appetit.
I mean, that's more than there is in North Texas.
Basically, people, if you're going to come to Texas, go to the central and west. Don't go anywhere else. It's dumb and stupid, and we hate it.
I mean, Corpus Christi's pretty.
I was gonna say you don't like Houston. Everybody always shits on Houston, but I think Houston's a cool city.
I mean, it is if
I
you
don't
can.
like how it always smells like it's a wet dog turd.
Yeah, and the feeling of the air, the smell, and the people. Houston's pretty cool.
They have a bitch in space museum.
At least it's not North Florida. Fuck you. North Florida's an awful state. No one should ever go there for any reason. They should be actively leaving.
They're always that's where they're always evacuating to.
Yes, after your short conversation, Gilbert is back with his small amount of supplies, a literal hobo bundle over his stick.
What do you carry
Hey, y'all.
there anyway?
Miss me?
Very
Oh,
well,
my
personal
cigar
question, I
cigar.
understand. Oh. Alright,
What?
Then I will take Kazaa to the scrapyard.
You all arrive to what you are probably imagining a scrap heap full of metal ready to be sold for essentially for wholesale to be melted down. Excuse me.
Adam, quick, what hilarious contraption is in your front yard?
Yeah, what have you been building, Adam? What is currently your magnum opus sitting in the front yard?
It's probably just like the failed attempts of scrap metal trying to stand up straight, but like one part of it's like missing, so it just falls over.
As we get there.
Yeah,
Car stops. Wow.
Just to let
Falls onto the car.
the slightest breeze blows it over, but I go back over and try to put it back together.
Adam, why don't you give me dexterity craft?
I don't want to do dexterity though, but let's try. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Does he
so
get
you-
a bonus for his toes?
his toes let him use his feet to fix it if he wants, but yeah, what can only be described politely as perhaps Art Nouveau or avant-garde pieces of metal welded together in abstract shapes. One of the pieces quickly falls over as you drive up to the scrapyard, and Kazaa quickly gets out of the car and starts to try to set everything back up.
I got 3 successes.
I'm back.
And he manages to put it back together. And now that it is properly set back upright, you are still not quite sure what it is.
So just tick my head to the side. Well, if anyone can inspire somebody, I'm sure he's got a trick or two.
It's one of them anime waifus. Kidding, no. That's Adam talking. Okay.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So what loose ends does Kazaa have to tie up before he heads to the saloon at high noon?
Tell my folks I'm heading out for a while. To find a job.
They don't believe you. Immediate doubt.
How do you broach the question as you walk in with the? How does Gilbert Boyle look as a human man?
How?
How does Gilbert Boyle? Probably average height, 5'10", 6 foot, thin, friendly face, smiling eyes.
I'm not gonna lie, up until this point I've been picturing you as the guy from Song of the South. Zippity doo
I legitimately not seen anything from Song of the South, so I don't know. Yeah, kind of thin, but I mean, not. I wouldn't quite say gangly.
Gangster?
Yeah, that's
So
very average looking. Aside from like the happy features.
So Tom, you walk in with your new buddy who literally has a hobo bundle slung over his shoulder, and as your ma and your pa probably at their meager dinner look up and they're like,
You mean
Good.
Adam?
yeah, Adam,
Oh.
my bad,
I too was confused.
my bad, but yeah, Adam and your parents kind of quickly get up from their dinner. I'm assuming what can only be something as sad biscuits and grits.
With no cheese or butter.
Man,
Good.
biscuits and gravy sounds so good right now.
What a sad dinner.
You're getting us hungry now.
Biscuits and grits with no butter, no gravy, no jam, no jelly, no cheese. And they say, who was your friend here? As your mom gets up and says, you should have told us we were having guests.
You know we can't feed him.
Basically,
We're gonna have to eat one of us.
oh, there's nothing wrong with biscuits and grits, Valerianus, but I specifically said these are sad biscuits and grits.
They're watered down. This here is Gilbert Boyle. We starting tomorrow. We'll be going on an adventure.
As your paw kind of stops chewing the tobacco, it's like adventure.
It's just a phrase.
I used the wrong phrase. And we're going to look for jobs in
I'm looking for.
North Texas. We heard there's some openings up there, so we're gonna go check them out.
As your paw spits into a bucket next to his chair, he's like, "Boy, I know you're a little touched in the head, but there's no jobs in North Texas."
There ain't nothing in North Texas.
Well, have you been, Pa? You don't know?
Son, I read the paper. It's the worst part of the Dust Bowl.
We got a job from a marshal to head on up there, check something out for him.
Rounding out a posse.
As Adam's ma kind of chimes in, and she's like, "Law work, son. You don't even know how to fire a gun."
I can learn, Mom.
I assure you, madam, it's nothing to that extreme. It's more of a checkup while he's held up on business here.
As Adam's dad just kind of takes a deep breath and leans back in his rickety wooden chair and he says, "Well, work is work, son. You do what you got to do." As your ma is like, "You be safe out there now, son."
I know how to be safe. I've been living. I won't say it.
Good, Adam. I will make sure you don't live all your life. And who's gonna punish me? I'm gonna die anyway.
Little do you know, Adam is your punishment.
Then I have an easy way to, fix that punishment.
Did you know this gun's made out of the same metal as the Reaper's scythe?
You want to look at it? Look down the barrel real quick. You'll see something real fancy.
I just imagine the gun from Supernatural, the Colt.
Oh, man. When was the last time that was mentioned in that show?
Season 9.
So as Kazaa and Gilbert's business is fairly neatly wrapped up, Hutch, you got a not a brand new car, but not something quite yet beaten to hell and back. As you pull up to your house where your ma's sitting on that rocking chair waiting for you, and well, your brother's probably passed out either in the barn or somewhere in the house, drunk off his ass on moonshine.
So before I head there, for the benefit of the audience, I don't remember if this was part of my prelude, but after Hutch got out of his daddy's moonshine business, he went legit and opened a general store. I'm going to swing by the general store first.
Okay.
Are they with me?
I'll say this is after you drop them off at the scrapyard.
So they're handling their thing and I'm going off on my own?
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm basically going to lock up the general store indefinitely. I'm clearing out the cash box. I like to imagine that Hutch's store probably had a little bit of an abundance of stuff like dime novels and weird tales and a couple of comic books. I'm going to pack up as many of those as I can and take them with us, because if we're going to a banality zone, I need whatever I can to spark some people.
I'll say you have a copy of Weird Tales, maybe Astounding Fiction. I don't know if Planet Stories has been around yet, but Adventure Tales I think has been around.
Is Tolkien?
Tolkien I think at this point might have written The Hobbit. That might be a few years later though.
Tolkien wasn't published till the 50s, was he?
Lord of the Rings wasn't published until then, but he published The Hobbit first.
Okay.
He that's why the If you get a first edition copy of The Hobbit, it's a collector's item because the story is slightly different because the connection to the One Ring of Power hasn't yet been established, and he kind of wrote that. He made it a little more clear and a little more connected when in the revised editions of The Hobbit.
Yeah, so it was first published on September 1937.
Okay, yeah. So yeah. The Hobbit has not been published yet, but I think at this point Tolkien might have published some small things in magazines. Well, not magazines, but like journals back home in Oxford. I think he might have had his poetry published in like one of the university journals or something like that. Or I might be thinking of one of his other people. I can check real quick if you want, though.
Nice nerd flex.
Yeah, Weird Tales, Adventure Tales, Astounding Fiction at this point I think have all been established. If you have like a decently stacked thing, which these things are still in publication because people still needed entertainment even in the 30s, you can probably grab a good couple of handfuls of magazines.
Once that is seen to, I'm going to pry up one of the floorboards where I keep my daddy's last bottle of Shine. Because I'm not going to keep that where I think Avery might find it. I imagine it's probably in an old rusty flask at this point. I haven't opened it in over 8 years. He's going to tuck that into his robes as he lugs the boxes of Weird Tales to the trunk of the car. And then he's going to head to the farmhouse.
Are you taking anything else from the general store?
Actually, that's a good point. Anything... I'm going to take any kind of groceries, any kind of medicine, and anything I think might expire.
Okay. So you're leaving behind like anything like cheap shoes and stuff like that?
Basically.
Shoelaces. You probably got like you got one of those old-timey spray bottles full of carbonated water. Coke syrup, that kind of stuff.
Well, I'll grab a few of those things because my plan is to mostly give this stuff to Mama.
Okay.
But for the most part, I'm just taking like essentials.
Okay, yeah. I was joking. Most of that stuff you would have found in a soda shop rather than a general store, but you might have bottles of Coke. And I don't know if they've switched to the non-cocaine variant yet. But yeah, so you
Oh, I hope not.
I need whatever I can get to get through this damn depression. But yeah, so you after raiding the general store and picking up your I believe that moonshine's chimerical, isn't it? Or it's a
yes, it has been suffused with the dreaming because of my emotional attachment to it. So it currently has 1 dot of, I think it's spring.
Okay.
So they
That's
took
right,
out the Coke from Coca-Cola in 1929.
Okay.
We've learned
God
more
damn it.
history playing your Changeling games.
A history lesson for everybody.
I feel a little more comfortable running this, considering how much I've read literature-wise and stuff like that than I do running our Inquisitor game set of like 800 years back. But yeah, so you're heading back home.
All right, so I'm sorry I interrupted your scene setting the first time.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Mama's on the rocking chair, and your brother's probably passed out somewhere. Well, you know, she ever since your pa died in that moonshine run, she's always kept a lookout for you and your brother.
I'll exit the car, walking up to the porch, hefting my bags of groceries.
And she goes, Hutch, what you got there? Now, Hutch, what do you got there?
Mama, I just brought you some groceries. I help out. Why don't you come inside with me for a moment? I'll help you put these away.
You got an awful lot to put away.
Well,
What's going on here? What's going on here now, son?
sort of set the bags down. Well, Mama, I'm gonna be leaving for a little bit, and I don't rightly know when I'll be back. But
Where are you going?
going up north to the Panhandle, some good God-fearing folks up there that might need my help, and I figure in these days, anybody that needs help, anybody that can give help, well, they better give it. Else there ain't no kind of hope for none of us.
She puts a hand on your wrist, and she says, I know you're a good boy, Hutch, but this isn't related to the Shining business, is it?
No, Mama. I'm done with that, and I ain't going back. That's Mooney's racket now. You can have that for all I care.
What kind of help you giving out there?
Well, anything I can, Mama. Hopefully get some farms going again. Hopefully give some people some hope. I'll write you every day, Mama. I promise you that. And I'll be back. I intend to stay. But look, I brought you some groceries for the store, so you got plenty to make it through, and I'll pull out the money from the cash register. Got you this, Mama. This should at least see you through the month.
She'll kind of take the money and look at it and be like, well, what you gonna do about the store, son?
Store's gonna have to wait for me, Mama. Same as you.
And she kind of pauses for a moment. And she says, I know you're the younger brother and this shouldn't be your responsibility, but your brother Avery, he gets up to no good when you're not watching him. You think you'll take him with you? Maybe helping people is just the thing he needs.
Wow, I was not expecting that, and that's a gut punch for Hutch.
It is your flaw, isn't it, your brother?
Yeah. So Hutch kind of pauses for a second, searching for words when he just hits that wall of speechlessness. Don't you worry about it, Mama. I'll take care of him.
Think of the rabbits.
Where is Avery right now?
He was out back with your buddy Mooney, sitting on the back porch, I think.
Oh shit, Mooney. All right. You think you can handle the groceries, Mama, while I go talk to him, or you want my help first?
I got these, son. You go talk to your brother.
We don't know, Daestra. I tried enchanting my brother once because I thought maybe that would help him, and I don't know how much of that he actually knows. And I'm kind of leaving that up to Josh to fuck me at a dramatically appropriate time, because the essence of drama is conflict. But we'll see what actually happens. As far as Hutch knows, he just thinks he has a bad trip. Or as far as Hutch knows that he knows, he thinks he just had a bad batch of shine.
So you get to the back porch, and you do indeed see Mooney and Avery. And Avery looks a little tipsy, but Mooney looks like he's just smoking some hand-rolled cigarettes.
So I'll walk up. Mooney, you old dog, I didn't know you was in town.
Somebody's got to check up on you.
I'll give Avery a smile, pat him on the shoulder, maybe a little harder than I would necessarily intend to, if I smell the alcohol.
It's moonshine, and you do indeed smell that sweet smell of pink dinner.
Hey, Mooney, old buddy, you got a second for me?
Oh, it's got a second for you, Hutch.
I'll take him around the side of the barn. Come on, Mooney, now you're not supplying him, are you?
Hutch, I don't know where the hell he gets this stuff, but I'm trying to make sure he doesn't touch it.
Yeah, I hear you. They always find themselves a way, don't they?
You and Avery might be blood, but kind of thumps you in the chest. This is you and me. We're as close as brothers can be who ain't related by blood.
We homies.
You're a good man, Mooney. You're better than I deserve. Listen, I got a question. I'm headed out of town for a while, and I'm fixing to take Avery with me. You know anybody up in crucifixion?
Crucifixion? What the hell you heading to crucifixion for?
Mooney, if I told you I knew myself, I'd be lying right to your face. But, let's just say I gotta do what I gotta do.
Ain't how bad the business is up there, you know. We haven't been really running a lot of shine, but Lord knows those people need it.
No bias whatsoever?
There's an old juke joint up there. Used to supply them some of the stuff. If they're still in business, you tell them Mooney sent you. I'm sure they'll give you what kind of helping hand they can.
That's all I needed, buddy. I appreciate you hear me? You think maybe business ain't too busy for you? Come by, keep an eye on Mom from time to time?
Hutch, your mom is as good as my mom as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna look out for her. If it ain't me, one of the boys will be coming by to check up on her.
Yeah, well, just don't send Dugan. I never rightly trusted that one.
Keep that son of a bitch away. But hey, you tell me something. There's any business ready to be racked up back up there? Well, you send me a telegram and we'll try to sort something out.
I owe you for this, Mooney. You helped me out here, and I'm gonna do what I can to make sure you get taken care of.
I'll hold you to that, partner, he says, putting his hand out.
Ooh. Hutch knows the danger of making a promise, but I am in control of that, so I'll shake his hand, look him in the eye, and smile with no small note of irony.
And with that, I believe Hutch is all up and ready to leave.
Can I?
Unless there's something he wants to do with his brother.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if I could talk to him if I'm not monopolizing the spotlight again, as I usually tend to do when I did last time, and I'm super sorry. You want me to just shut the fuck up and put Avery in a sack? We can do that.
No, we've already come this far. Might as well finish it off.
I was going to say, is there anybody that needs to go to bed already or anything like that? For once, I am not the one who has to wake up early tomorrow. So if anybody needs...
Wake up, but I still got some time.
All right. Anybody else?
What now?
Does anybody have to go to bed soon?
I'm good for a little bit.
All right. Well, we'll try to finish this up. All right. What does Hutch got to say to Avery?
I'll sit down next to him. So what you been up to since I've been gone?
Keep him busy. Hutch, which one of us is the older one anyway?
I wonder that sometimes myself, Avery. I'm gonna be leaving town here for a couple weeks.
Kind of turns to look at you.
Huh?
He kind of turns to look in his eye you now.
I want you to come with me.
Come with you for what?
There's good, honest work up north, Avery. And I can make sure you don't kill yourself up there.
Kind of bites his lip and looks away from you.
You think
Without
I can't
looking
smell
back
that?
at you. Now, what the hell you mean by that now, huh?
You think I can't smell that, Avery? I've known
All
you
right.
since the day I was born.
All right, Pa.
Our pa was a good man. I'll take that as a compliment.
Why don't you give me some of that charisma, empathy again?
Okay, this I will absolutely throw willpower into.
Okay.
Charisma, empathy, and I can use my here's the plan, right?
I would say this is less giving him a plan and more trying to emotionally goad him into something.
Okay. What's my difficulty?
I'll say difficulty 7.
Oh, shit. Never mind. No, we're good. That is 4 successes with my willpower.
Avery kind of flicks the cigarette out into the sand. Says, "Well, goddammit, Hutch, maybe some honest work is what I need."
I think so, Avery. I think best thing for you is we go up there together. We find ourselves some honest work, and we find some honest work for you, and, we help try to turn your life around. You think you can do that for me? As I extend my hand.
I'll kind of half-heartedly slap your hand and shake it. He's like, "I don't know about turn me around. Can't say I don't like my life. But I'll tell you what, just for you, little brother, I'll try to find some honest work."
Try to find some honest work and try to treat yourself a little better.
Think about that, Hutch.
Okay. Fine. Hutch will activate his contracts. With my 4 dots in contracts, I can sanctify a casual oath.
Okay.
So I'm trying to find the actual page number. Does anybody remember where our stuff is?
Oh boy. All the magic stuff has its own chapter.
Yeah, I see it. Contract 203.
If he doesn't do this, he bursts into flames.
It's not quite that bad.
It's just a heart attack.
Okay, so though I do have a separate power that would let me punish him. Casual contract. This fearful enchantment grants the changeling power over even the most casual of agreements, allowing her to sanctify careless commitments, idle boasts, and even sarcastic rejoinders. Permanently modifies done deal. Done deal is an unusual cantrip in that realms modify its basic target rather than strictly dictating who and what can be targeted. As long as at least one realm can be brought to bear, the changeling may always use done deal to enter into contracts with other people. If she lacks fey or actor, which I do not, I have both, she may use proper nature to weave the object or locale into the deal, blah 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 blah. Done deal can only sanctify formal agreements, but my contracts force says otherwise. When an individual breaks an agreement bound by done deal, they normally suffer a number of automatic botches equal to the successes on the cantrip's activation roll, which the storyteller doles out at their most dramatically appropriate and poetically ironic moments.
Changeling.
Okay. So who remembers what the fuck I have to roll to use a cantrip? Is it just art plus realm?
Yes, but I believe you have to roll to activate it first.
Okay. What's my activation roll?
That's what I'm trying to do.
It is, your, glamour. No. Is it glamour? No, it's, whatever your dots in art plus realms. Whatever is applicable.
So it is arts.
Remember? Yeah.
Okay. So for my bunk, what I'm going to do to sort of grease the wheels is that when he goes to slap my hand, I'm going to turn it into like a slapping and high-fiving, and you know one of those when you're just fucking around with like a secret handshake sort of things? Okay. I'm going to make it as elaborate as I can.
So you're giving one of those elaborate kind of secret society kind of handshakes to your brother that a lot of boys make when they're younger. Probably something you two did as kids.
No, this is going to be completely freestyle. He's probably going to have no idea what's going on. I'm essentially just slapping at the man's hand and probably laughing as I do it. Like there's some kind of inside joke that I expect him to be in on.
I believe using a bunk reduces the difficulty by 1?
It's up to you. Between 1 and 3.
I will give you the 1 for the silly handshake.
Okay, so it starts at a diff 8, which means I'm rolling at a 7. My contract is 4. My actor is 3, so that's 7 dice. That's a fuck ton. That's
Ooh.
5 successes at a... I'm sorry, no, that's 6 successes at a difficulty 8.
Okay.
Also, I have the power called Liar's Bell, which means I immediately know if he breaks the oath.
Okay. So, what part of the oath are you holding him to? His attempt to try to get honest work?
Get honest work and think about improving his life.
Okay. You have now magically held him to that casual remark he made.
Changeling's fun.
You have bound an alcoholic to magical with magic contracts to not break his yeah, he will now be magically forced to try to break his addiction, essentially, or at least try to better himself and think about bettering himself, but definitely try to do honest work. He won't be a louse about. And I believe with that you have mostly tied up your loose ends.
I'm done.
All right, so leaving the exactly where is it that Monjarston heads to? Is he staying at the saloon?
Yeah,
I'll be
Yeah,
back in
he's
just 1 minute.
staying at the inn.
So staying at a small saloon, you take a Dustbowl horseback riding through the dusty streets. Not too many people out. No, this isn't exactly peak Riverwalk season, as there's not exactly a whole lot of money to be spent around. And you make your way to one of the saloons nearby that you've been staying at. And what are you doing? You just tying up your horse and going in and sitting at the bar?
Yeah, gonna maybe order me some something to eat. Getting kind of hungry.
We'll say there's a Mexican bartender serving today. His name is Javier. Okay, senor.
Ah,
What'll it be today? A shot of whiskey?
oh, you know how to speak those sweet nothings into my ear, don't you?
And he pulls out what we nowadays would call well liquor and pours you a shot and kind of slides it to you across the bar.
I let it slide off the board.
Don't. Like, why the hell would you do that?
You didn't tell me
Hand
to
it to me
catch
like a normal person.
And it should be like a man, damn it.
Oh,
Hey,
and we're being raided.
Nat
wow.
20 Productions.
That's
Hello,
too-
all y'all. Welcome to the fun.
So do you actually just let the little shot of whiskey slide off?
Another one.
As he kind of stops and looks up at you, and he's like, "You know, you have to pay for that."
What's up, everyone?
I'll look at him and say, "Dude, are you implying that I'm not good for this?"
He's like, "No, it is just you did the same thing yesterday." As he pours you a shot of whiskey and kind of aggressively taps it down in front of you, making it slosh kind of a little bit.
I'm getting the feeling that what's the word am I looking for? That you're getting flustered with my presence.
Senor, as long as you are paying, I am willing to overlook a few broken glasses.
I was joking about that.
Oh, okay. Senor, as long as you pay, I do not care.
Holy shit! Hi, people, and thanks for the raid.
That
Right?
was like an hour ago.
Wait,
I was gone for 5 minutes.
the tentacle panties.
So what'll it be, Mr. Mr. Jordiston? Another night?
Yeah, and luckily for you, it's gonna be the last one.
They finally hanging you tomorrow?
Oh, they could try. But this city ain't got nothing that can contend with yours truly. Trust me. Bigger, badder folk have tried.
Well, clearly not hard enough. So what does the dead man walking want for his last meal?
You got any beans?
Beans and tostadas again, senor?
You know what? I'll treat myself. Yeah, I'll bring those tostadas as well.
So he puts in a wooden bowl before you some refried black beans, and another bowl of some fried tostadas. The tostadas are still hot. You know, they still got that sheen of oil on them, that little bit of salt sprinkled on them. Some of that delicious cheap food that you can still get even in the Great Depression.
See, now we're living the high life now.
Like, hey, you and me both.
Javi, you ever been up north?
What, to like Colorado?
No. I don't mean that far north. Don't be ridiculous.
I don't even think a horse can go that far.
Too many mountains.
Trigger Chan, thanks for the follow.
Yo,
Yeah.
and Shiny's in the house.
Shiny, what's up?
Shiny.
Oh my god, it's been so many years.
I made my character today, okay?
Adam
The
has his
first
change.
one ever. Third one ever. I don't know how long.
Like Oklahoma?
Nah, no, the Panhandle.
Got the cousin I think who lives up there.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of cousins, right?
Ho 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 ho.
Hella rude.
Yes, but unlike you, Mr. Jordison, they all know who their padres are.
Oh, yo, rude me, Javi. Frankly, I might have wanted to retort with a little street justice if you weren't supplying with this drinking beans.
Wouldn't it be the first time they kept me alive? But exactly what in the Panhandle we talking?
I forget. I think the name of the city was it had something to do with them the Catholic stuff y'all was about. The cross.
Las Cruces? That's west, not north.
No, it was not. It was in English.
Crucifixion?
Crucifix. That's what it was. Yeah,
Why
someplace
would you go
up
there?
north named Crucifix.
I had the cousin Cesar. He used to be a vaquero up there. I don't think business is doing too well though.
I don't think business is doing good anywhere. Well, I mean, most businesses.
Hey, people still need to drink. Now more than ever, I think.
People always want to drink, and people always want to kill.
That's what keeps you and I in business, huh?
You and I, we know what people, how they tick. None of this fancy politics. That doesn't put food on my plate. Doesn't put cash in your box. Just getting your hands dirty. That's what does the job.
Yeah, I heard you're going to politics, though. People just kind of give you money, huh?
I think I'm more an honest person than them.
Imagine. Mayor Javier.
Yeah. Make sure you're gonna have to serve everyone at your rally. These beans, that's how you get elected, my friend.
Yeah, but what business you got in Crucifixion, huh? There's
I'm
There's
sort
Darryl
of
now.
looking for some feller. I think it's kind of a shot, a long shot. They don't just look for this fella. I don't even know what his name is. Don't know what he looks like. Just that I need to find him. You ever done something like that? Normally, I got a picture.
in the dark ones with a woman, yes, but I think we're talking about two different things. But if the government is still paying bounties, at least you'll still have money for whiskey.
As long as the government's around, they're gonna want someone they're gonna want someone in jail or buried. That's one of the easier ways to get paid. Well, at least for me, you just having your whiskey is much easier, I think.
Keep drinking the whiskey. Leaves more tequila for me.
Tequila, whiskey, gin, it's all the same after 4 or 5 shots.
After 10.
I can only count to 6.
And then you black out.
A gunman only has to count to 6, but I tell you what, my cousin Cesar is still up there. If you need room and board, I'm sure you can pay him. Sure, he'll need the money.
Yeah. I think I'll look in hopefully this is a family recipe you got here.
Are we about to have a Nurse Joy situation where just like different random members of Javiera's family run up the ends of the state?
Spread it all across the Southwest, all with the same bean recipe.
All related to Javier.
Kyle, this is beyond your time, but we already have someone like that. His name is Officer Hank.
But he's like, no, this is a house specialty, but you know, Cesar beans. You like it with the chicharrones in it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Sure, whatever that means.
Is that main food?
Por skin, amigo.
I've eaten worse on the road. But really, you just take the skin off and what, you fry it or you put in?
You fry it, you put it in soup.
Crunchy soup.
Soup.
That's basically what shadow beans are, though. It's just bean soup.
Yeah.
Delicious, delicious.
Oof.
But is that with this last bowl of beans in San Antone? Is that how this amigo here finishes his loose ends?
Pretty much. Didn't really have any ties here to begin with.
All right. And we'll go to Riker Redwin next. The other gentleman on the horse. Where's he going to tie up his loose ends in the city?
I don't have any. I literally just came here to see what's up. I mean, you can in all honesty just skip me. I was gonna go camp outside.
I mean, you guys get me too. You don't get out of this.
No, Xavier, you will have flavor.
Oh, I have to put Cyberpunk down then. Okay.
Oh
You son of a bitch.
You know better than Adam now.
How does that make you feel, Xavier?
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. I'll commit seppuku right now.
Like the weed you are, it's getting that. Why not getting that?
High five, Adam.
If you genuinely feel like you have nothing to do,
I mean,
you're just
yeah.
gonna camp out until high noon.
Yeah. Just camp outside for the night.
All right, then we'll finish it off with you, Melinda,
Oh boy.
as you exit La Mission. You hear a certain familiar voice as he says, "Well, that was awfully brave of you."
I assume that's my cat.
Yes, it is Willow as he exits the mission with you. Suddenly, Miss Bookworm is ready for an adventure. I'm tired of reading about them?
Pretty much. Can only sit around in the same spot for so long before you get bored.
But what are you going to do when you're surrounded by so much scenery?
I'm sure it'll be enjoyable. Hopefully, anyway.
A lot of flat brown out there.
Ooh!
All that tasty flat brown.
I love the desert.
Oh god, especially like during the Dustbowl. Shit.
Don't worry. The Dustbowl wasn't just it wasn't just not pretty to look at. It was terrifying. So how do you carry Willow on your horse? Do you just you just kind of cradle him in front of you?
She rides on my shoulder like a parrot.
All right.
I actually used to do that with my cat.
But
My
like
mom
not
used to
like
bitch at
sitting
me
up,
for it.
like laying down kind of. I'm sorry, Charlie. What?
Oh, I said I actually used to do that with my cat, and my mom used to bitch at me for it because it wasn't a parrot. But then my cat got super used to it and would climb up on my shoulder
Yeah.
itself. But no, I'd be just standing there talking to somebody, and I'd feel these nails dig into the back of my leg as this cat shimmies up me and just.
Yeah, no, I had a friend's cat that used to do that with everyone. So yeah, I know how that goes. They get used to it and they're like, I'm gonna sit here now. This is my favorite spot.
It's literally like one of the best things about cats is
Yeah.
like when you can get them to stand and sit on your shoulders. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a dope ass power move that is unrivaled by most creatures.
Pretty good.
So I imagine you probably crouch down next to where your horse is stabled as Willow kind of hops up on your shoulders and you hop up on the horse.
Yeah.
And you're heading back home. And who is it that you have to say good? You have to tie up your loose ends with when you get home.
I want to say my mom. I haven't planned this far ahead. I'm just kind of going with it.
So,
All right.
Sometimes improvising is where the juiciest meat comes from.
Most of my stuff is from that.
If you want to say that, I guess.
But if it's good or
Adam
bad,
is jazz music in its
That
purest
thick,
form.
juicy plot.
Adam is nothing but pure jazz improvisation.
Well, I've
doesn't
also
even
never
know what
really played.
classical music is.
I've never even really played like RPGs much, so it's like I don't plan like you do, or like everyone else here that just like knows how to do things. I just
I think I plan anything.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
don't play
Kyle
what I do.
randomized his entire character sheet. He had computers in the 30s.
oh, okay. Well, you know, I
I think I had like 3 things I picked out that were like, this is gonna be an established part of the character, and after that, I was just like rolling dice to see what happened.
okay. Well, you know, at least Charlie had a full-on fucking movie going on in his area.
I kind of. This is the one thing I am good at. I will not apologize.
I'm not asking you to
I
apologize.
tell
I'm just saying.
stories.
You legitimately could have dots and computers in the 1930s, because I think at this point, very, very, very early, like dot matrix computers were starting to be developed. Crazily enough, by Lord Byron's daughter, I think it might have been Ava or Ada Byron, who was like one of the first like real developers of early computers.
That is nuts.
So yeah, you have the mad, bad, and dangerous to know poet, and his very distant daughter was one of the first developers of modern computers.
That is
might have-
easy to say, Valernos, but I have social anxiety.
Von Morrison wishes to know: does Eleanor actually have cat ears and a tail? She just sent me a picture that she
No,
wanted to use.
I just gave an uwu cute kawaii desune picture because I couldn't really find another one that I wanted. So
That picture is
When I-
canon.
what's up?
When I was go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard
I
Kyle
was
say
about to-
something that I didn't.
I said the picture's canon. Like, no, that's just what you look like.
Can't you back now?
But yeah, I forgot where I was going. I had something I was about to say. But what do you think Eleanor's relationship with her mother is? Has her mother been supportive of her intellectual pursuits, or is she more of a women don't need to read, you just need to get married kind of thing?
Yes, the second one. Very much. So. I kind of ignore her for the most part. But it's a good excuse to leave. I can lie to her.
So you get home and your mother's probably at some kind of housework. Maybe it's towards the end of the night, and she might be crocheting or doing some kind of needlework or embroidery. And she's like, "Well, you're home awfully late, Eleanor. Another late night at the library?"
Yeah. Actually, I can't say that. That is not true.
What?
Are you disallowed to lie?
No, I just like I'm trying to set up.
The anti-polka.
I'm trying to set up an excuse to leave, and I don't know if the library works.
They're burned down. I'm gonna go find another one.
No, it's more of like the reasoning for leaving. It's like, how am I supposed to tell her that I have to leave somewhere because someone told me something if I was at the library?
Just tell her a man told you to go. She'll probably buy that.
No, I'm getting married. I'm gonna go to North Texas. Oh. Okay, at least someone is taking you. God, I think they're gonna be in this home forever.
No, it's not that serious. Chill.
Not yet.
I mean, I guess I could just tell her like someone came in asking for someone who's looking for work, and I need to go up north.
North for work? Eleanor, I thought this whole library phase would be over by now. Now, what kind of work do they have up for you up north anyway?
Just a group needs to be helpful up there, I guess. Looks like the marshals just need help. But
You totally stole that from Adam.
did I?
What's up, Kyle?
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
That was my free balling.
Oh.
Sir.
Oh, was it? I'm sorry.
I'm teasing you. Do what you need to do.
No, go ahead. It's a good lie.
Yeah.
We kind of
Yeah,
like the
looks like
Harry Potter.
It just looks like it just needs some help to look over. I can look over some of the other families there, and I'll also be working around some guys. Maybe I'll find some.
She kind of stops her needlework and gives you a bit of a side eye. She's like, any eligible bachelors, Eleanor?
Yeah, I'm going to be traveling alone with 6 men.
Yeah. It looks
The
like
Bachelorette.
An
Season 0.
outlaw, a
None of them
native,
look really well
a
traveled.
it looks like there's going. It looks like there's going to be a big group of men.
The brothers.
So many men surrounding me.
The brothers.
She's like, well, I don't want you doing anything untowards now, Eleanor. What is this, some kind of
Of course
charity
not.
work?
Yeah.
Is this one of those New Deal things I've been hearing about?
Wow.
Wow.
The U.S. history part of my brain is like aching.
But yeah, no, Mom. There's just going to be some suitors. I could probably find someone, and also I'll probably get some money out of it that I can bring back home.
Eleanor, suitors for
Shut up.
money is not suitors. I told you this when you were younger.
Shut up. Hilarious.
It's like-
Oh God, Von Morrison.
Morrison's on it. Fuck yeah. Man, fucking Yusuf, Hilarious, and Von Morrison are on it tonight. Jesus.
Stop trying to dissuade my mother.
This the idea that they're like, there will be bachelors, and it's the hobo, the moonshine runner.
Ex
guy who-
moonshine
who-
runner. I have legitimate business now.
She doesn't have to know who they are.
The outlaw arguing about beans.
You're awesome too, Von Morrison. Daisuke desu.
And the man who has literally taken human scalps.
It's fine.
She kind of pauses for a moment. She's like, well, money is tight, Eleanor. You do be careful now. You don't let any of those men take advantage of you.
No, of course not. I know better than that.
It's she that'll be taking advantage of us. Ooh.
She was a satyr all along.
Undercover.
Eleanor, I know things have been a little more progressive, but you remember there's a world out there that doesn't always see things the same as you do.
I'm aware. I'm sorry, I'm choking.
Please don't. Do you need water?
You are allowed to cry at my amazing storytelling. No- I know I am just reaping the emotions out of you. No-
You're doing a good job, Josh.
Thank you. I'm just messing around. But
He's reaving
yes,
us.
is there anything?
It's glamour.
I am reaving you of all of your glamour, all of you watching. Yeah, is there anything from home specifically that you wish to pick up and take with you?
Probably just like in like I don't know what like they had other than just like maybe like satchels, stuff like that, like bags. Probably just some food.
It's just, the suitcase has been invented yet. Don't worry. you can take a suitcase.
I don't know if they care. Yeah,
Fucking outlaw from the fucking old west to be the norm. I'm very much the exception.
Yeah.
I have a
The-
pigeon.
Yeah. Don't assume the Native American from the 1830s and the outlaw from the 1890s are the.
We're very
or the
much
current
slightly
standard.
anachronistic.
But yeah, I guess I'll
Well,
just like in a satchel I'll have some like food and stuff, and I guess I'll have like a suitcase with some like clothing and.
Are there any books you take with you?
Well, I will take a few books too.
Are there any specific books that Eleanor holds especially dear to her that she's taking?
Just the doujinshis.
Like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I'll probably. I was gonna say Alice in Wonderland. I can't think of anything other than stereotypical books.
Are you gonna take your fantastic encyclopedias?
Hey, if you needed to look something up back then, you needed an encyclopedia.
Yeah, you had access to that. You're the closest thing we have to Google.
Probably like herbal books, like natural medicine books. A couple of shitty romances, like not shitty, but like just like
You could
regular
take a
romance.
good romance.
Penny dreadful.
You think the romance
take,
of the
I guess Pride and
I don't know
Prejudice
if
is
there's an
one.
English translation of that yet.
I was
Pride and
about to
Prejudice
say,
is
you
a
could take
romance, I
some-
guess.
Yeah, I was about to say there's Jane Austen. You could take Tess of the D'Urbervilles. What else?
101,001 ways to poison your friends and foes.
You could probably take some Faulkner. You could take some T.S. Eliot.
And I guess Alice in Wonderland, Pride and Prejudice, and I guess some like natural medicinal books. Because I have dots in medicine.
All right. And with that, the motley is mostly ready to set forth on the trail to Crucifixion, Texas, where we shall continue this next session on Dustbowl Blues for Changeling the Dreaming.
We are almost
Hope
ready.
you all,
Start of the Chronicle, guys.
Josh, I have a question though. Like, would Lovecraft
What's up?
be considered like, I guess, like, glamorous, or
It can be both one
Lovecraft
person.
inspired
It
glamour.
tells you both.
no? Is it
There is such a thing, Adam, as nightmare glamour.
okay, interesting.
But I do imagine the creative spirit behind Lovecraft as sad and twisted of a man as he was. He probably is a man who inspired glamour, or fear and horror at least, which is still part of the world of the dreaming. Not everything is rainbows and
Sunshine, yeah.
knights and dragons and stuff like that.
I mean, how many people are still writing Lovecraftian horror today?
Yeah.
He inspired insight, not glamour. Joke.
But all right, well, who gets the bonus XP this session? I do believe last time you won, right, Chaz?
I think so.
Yeah.
And but judging by the prelude that was posted, you took it away running as well.
Do we do what now? I didn't.
The audience vote in the prelude, just about everybody voted you as their favorite when I looked at it.
I do believe so. Also, did we get any actual XP for the prelude session, or is it just the one?
No, I believe you were the one that started off with one, but yeah,
Okay.
everybody can take that other XP for this session, as you all can vote for who gets the bonus.
Yay.
Wait, what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Oh
that.
man, the 3DO? That shit show a console?
I didn't hear what was said. What happened?
I think it's one
we're
XP for
voting.
this session, and then we vote. Right? It's one base.
Yes.
We'll vote for Tom for dropping or not dropping the glass on the floor.
I'm also gonna vote for Tom for the just the bar scene with Javier. That was a lot of fun.
The bar scene that didn't need to exist.
It was great though. I'm glad it does.
The first discourse on beans.
I also vote for Tom. That was deeply entertaining. What little I was able to catch of it.
There, Daestra.
Oh, good night, Daestra, buddy, and thank you.
Good night, Daestra.
Thank Daestra.
So far, we got 3 votes for Chaz in the chat, and so far that is
3 for Tom.
4 for Tom.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
see
Yusuf
this
gave
vote.
1 to Tom.
Gotcha.
So far, 4 for Tom and 3 for Chaz. Who hasn't voted?
I guess I'll also give it to Charlie.
Okay, so far that's 4 and 4 then. Do you have a reason why you're voting for Chaz?
Because he always has a fucking movie prepared for his characters.
Honestly, you shouldn't vote for me for that. It's not. I don't want to say I'm not proud of it, but I feel like I shouldn't be doing it because I tend to monopolize the spotlight, and I really try hard.
No, you're fine. I actually enjoy your movies.
Not movies. I'm just a nerd.
You're like
You
the
don't
Michael
get to play
Jackson.
that
You're like the
often, so
Michael
you
Jackson
don't.
person or video person for like RPG. Michael Jackson always makes like these long ass music videos that are like mini movies,
So I'm
but it's just
I'm Moonwalker.
sure.
I believe you now have 5 votes. Chaz, as Valernos votes for you for mind controlling your brother into self-improvement.
Have you met many addicts? Of course, I have no faith in them.
All right. Who hasn't voted yet? Just you, Xavier?
Just me.
Or Tom? Tom hasn't voted yet either, I don't think.
It was like, I guess I get forgotten again.
No, you won't get anything, Tom.
All right, Tom, who are you voting for?
I will vote for Atom.
What? For what?
For not using his
reasoning?
dexterous toes?
For not using it. No, because I want to see him turn his stupid statue in the future into a Gundam.
That's what I was hoping for.
You're giving the hobo a place to sleep for the night.
No, because I know where that statue's going, and I know it's going to be a Gundam.
Damn it, Tom. You spoiled my...
So far, that is 5 for Chaz, 4 for Tom, and 1 for Adam.
So you know what I was hoping for with
I knew it!
the fake, like the cannons.
Easy read, Adam.
You know me too well, Tom.
Now put the controller down and shake my hand.
All right.
To be your head, Tom.
Xavier, who are you voting for?
I'm gonna go for Tom because I laughed at the beans.
No.
Oh,
Man, I want rice to be
Oh,
so fucking
Fucking
bad.
hell.
No one liked my possible degeneracy.
So far, that is 5 for Chaz, 5 for Tom, and 1 for Adam. And unless we get some more votes in the chat, I believe we got a tie here.
oh, nothing happens. My favorite.
You both get
Unless
1 XP.
Charlie or I switched our votes to either ourselves or each other.
Well, I already voted for you, so
Oh, right. Never
you
mind.
could vote for you.
I could vote for me, but I would never do that.
And you must rap battle.
You remember who you're talking to, right, Melinda?
Vortigern votes for Chaz in order to break the tie. And he said, Von Morrison said Claude votes Reigns' vote for Chaz for being the best nerd.
Aw.
So I believe with that now, Chaz, you once again get the bonus XP.
Claude Von Reagan?
I accept it begrudgingly, only because I feel like I'm doing the rest of the party a disservice.
You are not.
Because we can't give you XP with your storyteller, so
Yeah, so you just gotta get it now.
get it now. Take it.
Are we doing comments from the YouTube, or did you not want to do that?
No,
How's it going?
Hello.
I mean, yeah, you got it. Remember the screen time.
If you want to abstain from your bonus XP because we lost half of it, you can abstain, Chaz. But otherwise, you would definitely win the YouTube vote.
Oh,
We're
that's
gonna
a
build
vote.
you the best deal maker ever.
Well, I also like to read the comments just because I feel like it's a time for our viewers to get a voice. That's why I don't just read the
Oh, yeah,
votes.
go ahead.
Roll Chaz because of screen time.
John Smith says, as much as I enjoyed the preludes, I would prefer it if they had been done one-on-one. This was only a little over an hour long. Again, technical issues. Keep in mind, Byrecash's prelude was almost an hour long. One-on-one would have given player and storyteller more time to work with. Also, would have loved to see Chaz roleplay as much as he wanted on cam. He probably would have had the longest prelude by a long shot, but nevertheless, it would have been fun to see. So the thing to remember is that when we did the preludes originally for like Rise of the Free States, we were doing that like separately, set up, record, take down in person. This being on stream and everybody on stream all at once, it has necessitated a different ethos. I don't know exactly how to say it, but we have to do things a little bit
Methodology?
differently. Yeah, just to make things work. Wyatt Marcus, I vote for Tom in the hopes that he takes his John Marston knockoff and makes it on his own.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
It's the only original character.
Frederick
Steele?
Seelick. Oh my god, they're playing Changeling, yay. We are indeed playing Changeling. And he received a reply from Xavier. One of our favorites, glad we get to stream it. Me too. Frederick Seelick, I vote for Adam, because it's Adam.
That's not a reason.
That's a reason.
That's super cool because Adam didn't even get his fucking prelude. He's just like, you know what? I'm giving it to Adam.
The power of Adam is so great.
John
It needs
Smith.
not content.
Damn Adam voting block.
John Smith, I vote for Tom because he was interrupted by Adam's weeaboo tendencies and he requires compensation.
I appreciate that. I appreciate someone recognizing this.
Nipple Belt says, when I try to picture Willow in my mind, all I can think of is the cat with hands.
Oh no.
What?
Oh no.
The cat with hands. I think that reference is lost on me. Do you guys know what that is?
Like,
No, I do not know.
You know your maze?
I guess not. Dominant927. I like to think they stopped the game, then went home and filmed part 2. I wish. In a better world, perhaps part 2 is in the dreaming. Ricardo Viafana, by screen time it would be Chaz getting the vote, unfortunately, I know. I'd like to see the rest of Kyle see Adams, Tom's, Xavier cuts off at 112. Again, I apologize. Nobody's more pissed off about it than I am, I promise you that. Weaponry and such, lol Chaz because of screen time. Nathan Callahan, I vote for Chaz, not for anything he did in game, but making the Goth GF meme a reality. I wish you two nothing but happiness for your relationships during the strange time we live in. You know, I will say this about the big titty Goth GF, the hype is real. Wyatt Marcus, Tom,
Arigato.
Tom, did you really have copy and paste John Marston from Red Dead Redemption? If you're going to play him, at least change his name more than just switching the first letter of his first name with the first letter of his last name.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Now, Wyatt Marcus also got 2 replies. By Xavier. John Marston is a man, Mon Jarston is an ideal. To which he replied, lol. So I will, because of technological fuckery, I will abstain myself from that voting, which means that Tom gets it by my count.
Tom, would you like a bonus XP?
He wasn't for his gun.
Just give it to my gun. Or baby, give it to my horse. Give it to my boy.
Due to technical difficulties, Chaz wishes to abstain from the voting, or from receiving votes. So, Tom, if you wish, you may take the bonus XP for the viewers.
I will give it to the horse.
Yes, pay the horse. Any
It's
biblically
sentient.
minded changeling is. I guess any biblically minded changeling is going to look at you and be like, "That guy's got Des fucking scythe and his horse."
Yeah, I don't really know how I came across this stuff.
I do believe in your prelude, which got deleted, you were given to it by the Spirit of the West, who
Oh, yeah.
takes the form of Sam Elliott.
Echoes
There
Bill?
we go. Sam Elliott gave me these.
Where did you get Des' horse and a gun made out of his scythe? Sam Elliott?
the West?
All right, I do believe that concludes the festivities for now. Spiel. Join the Discord, because magic things happen there. We have a lot of cool boards you can join. If you literally just want to talk about hentai, because we have a hentai literature club thing, you can do that. Or you can join the front lobby and just engage in general conversation. We have an interview with a storyteller. If you want actual legitimate advice from people who storytell games, in order to get the insights that people who regularly run games and have actual experience and aren't just some celebrity, you can join us for that. And if you want, we even have boards to help people find other games. and we actually have one game running on there from viewers who met in our Discord and through our YouTube channel. So, you probably have a higher success rate finding people of a fellow kind to play with on our Discord than you do going on Roll20 and trying to find a random game to play in.
Which, that's super satisfying, isn't it? That our community has facilitated people being able to get to play and get to enjoy this thing we all love. I personally think that's pretty great.
And that's why I think you should join our Discord, if nothing else, to see Daestra's memes about us.
Yeah.
God,
Your meme about me was pretty great. I still enjoy it.
they're so good. We get memes so hard.
But we greatly appreciate that, Yusuf. If but a single person has been brought back to playing games or has learned to play these games by watching our silly videos, and we have put more glamour into this world than we've taken out.
Josh, nobody's learned to play with our videos. Let's be fucking honest here.
No, not learn to play, but if they've been inspired.
They learned how not to play.
Yeah, you can learn how not to play from us, but if we inspire some small amount of glamour in you to go out and play games and have fun with people, then we like I said, we have put more glamour into the world than we've taken out.
Or we're just paying a debt.
Consider joining the Merchants Guild.
Oh yeah, and as we discussed at one point, we are forming some kind of legion. If you want to be one of the Equites or one of the more seasoned members, and you're going to have to join soon, because those upper legionis positions are going to fill up fast. And with that, I think stay caffeinated. Good night.
Yeah, next week
Bye-bye.
is Vampire. What's up?
Yep.
Also, if anybody's left over from the raid, thanks for being here. We hope you enjoyed yourself and hope to see you next week.
Bye-bye.
I think we're supposed to
y'all.
continue the raid.
Sleepy Adams in the chat.
Okay, you want to continue
Send
the raid?
forth our legions.
Shit.
Perhaps give them to Onyx Path if they're still playing.
I don't think they are.
Let people see Pugmire.
Does somebody who knows how to actually do this want to do it for me? Because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm a useless old man.
We don't know how to read.
Back in my day, raids were just.
Ooh, somebody's streaming Cult Divinity Lost.
Is that another tabletop RPG?
Fuck yeah, Cult's dope. I've always wanted to play that one.
Send forth the legions.
Yusuf said how to in the chat.
Oh. Yusuf, a gentleman and a scholar, as always. We would be lost without you.
With the Capcom.
True fact.
Oh, I think this is the actual company that makes Cult is streaming Cult. And they have one
Let's
viewer.
do it. Rate them.
Well,
Rate 'em.
we're about to get more.
Attack.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna go to sleep now. Bye bye.
Yeah, same.
Bye.
Night, y'all.
Hey, Nate.
Good night, everybody.
Night, Josh.
Good night, buddy. Thanks for the game.
Good night. Yeah. Did we finish sending our boys out?
I'm working on it.
There's an easier way to do that. I forgot how I did it earlier. Before we're also still live.
I do not have permission to perform that action.
Sick. Oh my god.
You're on the CathCon account.
No, I think Cult has blocked raids.
Why?
Fuck you then.
We'll just find someone else.
And the only other people playing tabletop RPGs is a very Gremlins Christmas 2020
Then a
RPG.
very Gremlins Christmas we shall send forth the legions.
I mean, I see a bunch of D&D streams.
I'll let you decide. But this Mimics and Monstrosities guy also only has one, and he's streaming a Gremlins RPG, which I feel like is more on brand for us.
D&D doesn't
Then
count.
give it to-
You're not wrong.
I'm rating the Gremlins, people. If there's no objections.
The legions go where they're needed.
Oh, okay. I figured out how to do it now.
I don't
What
have
was the
permission to
channel
perform that action.
What was the channel called?
It's just
Mimics and monstrosities.
Yo, Call of Duty Lost has been streaming for 7 hours.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think that's a corporate account.
Mimics
And
and
still
monstrosities. Start raid.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. All right. I guess we're out.
All right.
All right. Goodbye, people.